ago when you were slightly younger, your basketball career. You were so far away from here. You were one county north. Followed you for a long time and even through the college days. And quite a storied career as a basketball player. Now we don't get to count any of that, right? We've got to talk about coaching.
Yeah, none of that matters anymore. I've got to step in that coaching role.
A good run at Lincoln County. I think I saw that 8 times you were in the region up there. You took a team to the state semifinals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Good run.
It's not far from Lincoln County. My family and I actually live in Garrett County, so
Mm-hmm.
I've got a little bit of drive every day, but I'm really excited about our team.
You inherit a team that slightly above a 500 record last year, lost a couple of the lead scorers. I think your leading scorer, maybe Brunner, is back, but a lot of new pieces and a new coach. So where are we right now?
Learning my system, getting hired late in the summer, just 4 days before the dead period. So we're getting to know each other in the sense of they're learning, my style, our plays, terminology, just things, expectations, in practice. And so we still got a long ways to go, but I've been telling the girls since day one, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. We're not going to have everything in by first game come November 30th, but it's just a process. They've been very excited. They're working hard, so we'll just keep taking it one day at a time.
You led me right into my next question, as what do we expect the Lady Jumpers to look like this year? What style of play do you, if you had your everything in place, what would you really like to play?
If I had everything in place, I like to play fast pace. I like to get up and down the floor and get up a lot of shots. I like to really get after it defensively. And that's where we're still learning each other. What are we going to be able to do well? What are going to be maybe our best defenses? And then, again, them learning my offensive style and our plays and things that we need to get in place.
And you have to learn their temperament, and they have to learn yours, and you have to learn who you can yell at and who you can't, and who will accept it, and who you have to kind of pat on them. Yeah, we've been there, done that. But, again, it is good to have you here. And, once again, you step into a district that every year is pretty competitive. It's just for whatever reason, you throw it out there, and somehow a few years it's rock, a few years, like you said, at a slight disadvantage only having your team after the dead period. But you don't have to be ready to beat everybody in November, right?
No, we just got to prepare and keep going. As I told the girls, a marathon, just prepare as the season goes along. We've got to be ready when it comes tournament time. And as long as we'll stay together, as long as we're trusting one another, they're trusting me, I'm trusting them, we'll get it all together come February.
I think our first broadcast with you guys will be the 17th of December. If I'm not mistaken, you play Pulaski County. We're going to get to know you a lot better along the way. But, again, let's talk about your basketball team. Again, the Brunners I know are back. Other than that, I looked at the roster, and you lost 3 or so off the team that was there last year. So have you had a chance to even figure out who's going to fit in what slot yet?
Well, we do return Grace as our leading scorer, Grace Brunner, but, we did lose 2 leading scorers after her from last year's team. But, Kate Brunner, her sisters, had really good 2 scrimmages, stepped up first scrimmage and played really well and put the ball in the hole for us, was very aggressive defensively and got a lot of deflections and steals. You've got Taya Mills, who I think a lot of people know that name. She unfortunately tore her ACL before the district tournament last year, but she's coming along. She's, not maybe 100% yet, but she's really surprised me in practice what she can do after injuring that knee and coming back. So I don't want to push her too quick. I want to make sure she stays healthy and ready for us. And, you've got inside Mackenzie Fisher, who her just presence alone, I'm trying to get her to be very confident in herself and her play inside. She's got a frame and an ability in there that I wouldn't want to mess with her. I don't
I'm
want to go
with
in
you.
and defense. And she saw that in our scrimmages, the attention that she's going to get in the post. And so she needs to take advantage of when she can dominate in there. And I'd like to see her get really confident and take more shots inside.
And when I watched you play, the ball was in your hands a whole lot. You ran the point. And the games, quite a few games that I watched, who's going to get that role on this basketball team? Who are you going to stick the basketball in their hands?
Well, we also have a lot of younger players who can handle that basketball too. I know Grace is probably more comfortable in that role of handling the ball and running the point right now, but I could also see some of our middle schoolers stepping up. Haley Combs is an 8th grader who is very capable of running the point. I said last week to someone, she reminds me of myself. She's just got a true point guard mentality and wanting to dish the basketball and get your plays set up. Jalen Dye is another player who can handle the basketball and can help relieve Grace from that point at times. So it may be able to slide that leading scorer into more of a scoring role if some of those are helping to handle the ball. I was the point guard. I liked having the ball in my hands. I liked setting up the plays. But as a coach, I've learned I like when I have multiple players be able to handle that basketball and just not one player have to go get it, go set us up.
Right.
Be really interchangeable in your guard play.
It's hard to play up tempo, too, if you have to find somebody to get you started into everything.
Yes, if we can just get it and go, I like that a lot better.
Somerset has a rich tradition. That's been a good program over the years. They've hit a bump or two in the last couple years. But, again, I think you come in with a fresh start. You come into a fresh district. I know you probably at Lincoln played Rock, I know, every year probably, and probably Casey every year too, I would assume. But, again, you're stepping into a district now that expectations are you're going to make the All-A. Of course, Judy's got a pretty good bunch up at Danville right now, I think, still.
Yeah, she got a pretty strong little team this year.
Oh, yeah, she does. But again, I think the Somerset people are going to have a patient attitude. I think what they're going to want to see is hard work. They're going to see improvement. And I have no doubt coming from you. Just the dance in your eyes when you talk about basketball. So, again, the district is something you've probably not spent any time worrying about who's going to be good and who's not. So let's just jump that.
Okay.
Let's jump that.
That's fine with me.
Let's go back to what are you actually – I know you're trying to figure out who can play when it counts, who can't just – great practice players are all over the place, but when you make them play with the clock running sometimes – have you figured out yet, have you got 10 or 12 that you're hoping will help you a little bit, or 5 or 6, or you're still looking for 2? Right?
Well, when you look at our roster, and this is one thing that's a change for me, I've got 13.
Excellent.
And that's everybody. So, we've got 13 players in the program right now. Our numbers are a little down. We have no seniors. We have no sophomores.
I saw that.
So we've got that large junior class. And, another one I didn't mention in that junior class, Kaylee Bartley, that's really come along, I think, from some of the film I've watched from last season to practices and preseason. She's been having really good practices. She goes super hard. I'm excited about what she can bring to us. But as you said, just trying to figure out those pieces. I have found that we've got 8 to 10 right now that I know varsity-wise that on any given night, I think when their number's called, they're going to be ready to go and they're going to be able to step in and help us. You've got 8th grader Sophie Barnes that comes to mind that's here with us tonight, and she's fast as can be right now. I mean, when we do wind sprints and conditioning, she's first one up and down the floor every time. We've got some speed. We've got talent. It's trying to find that mixture of the 5 on the floor that's going to be able to produce when it counts, at the end of the game or big moments.
Have they adjusted to you yet?
I think they are. I think it's taken a little bit. We're learning how to practice like a champion, learning how to bring it every day in practice. I think it's a bit of an adjustment for them, just the expectation of how I want them to practice each and every day, and just the consistency day in and day out.
Hardest person in the world to play for is a former point guard. Even more difficult is a former point guard who was successful at the next level, played in the NCAA tournament 3 straight years and was a captain of the team maybe in her senior year. Those are hard to play for because they know what it takes to get there, and I know you're looking to try to teach these kids even at a much younger age how hard you really have to work to be good.
Yeah, and we've had those conversations already, and I think a lot of people think I'm that coach that I need to after them. I'm really a player's coach.
Excellent.
I like to get along with my players, but there's a fine line of getting along with your players and pushing your players.
Kind of like a parent.
You kind of
I just
like
saw your
parenting.
daughter come in here a minute ago. kind of like parenting.
Just like parenting.
Okay.
You got to know when to push them and you got to know when to love on them, and that's some of the things we're still figuring out. Whose buttons can I push? Who do I need to put my arm around and encourage that way? And, I think we're learning each other a lot better day in and day out that we have together, and really hoping that by the time season starts next week, and especially by the end of the season, we're really gelling the way we need to.
So you've got another former Lincoln County Patriot on the boys' side who's going to be right behind you with the next interview with Chris Staten. And I know you know Coach Young, and that's got to be a little bit of a comfort level to know that the guy that's in the opposite locker room that you have to share practice time with and all these other things, that you've got somebody that I heard him compliment you and saying he watched you play and got a fever for coaching by watching you play. I think that's quite a compliment.
Well, I appreciate that compliment, and he was a heck of a player himself. I had a picture come up on my Facebook of him his senior year winning the region title.
He could play.
And, we have that common thread, and it has been a comfort of knowing who I'm working with, and we work well together as far as, talking basketball and just sharing the floor and doing things that we need to do for both our teams to be successful.
How about support? Well, let's talk about your assistants first. Have you had a chance to even put a full staff together, or are you still operating with one or two right now?
We've got a full staff put together. I was very fortunate to one of our new teacher hires, social studies teacher Andrew Laughlin, is from Williamstown, so he's from a smaller town up north in northern Kentucky, and he's used to kind of the 1A deal and smaller schools. Excellent knowledge of the game, great assistant coach. He is what assistant coach is about. He's been loyal to me. What do you need? What do I need to do? He's going to be our tech guy with Huddle and our film exchanges, but great knowledge for the game. The girls love him. He's upbeat. He's positive. And then my other two assistants, I had been looking forward to them coming back home after playing college ball at Campbellsville and one day being able to coach with me, and now it's here. So it's kind of come full circle. I have the Hall twins, Caitlin and Kristen Hall, who played for me at Lincoln. They were on that Final Four team. They were young, but they were on that Final Four team. And then, again, the next year we went to state, and, they're great. And, of course, the girls love them. They're younger. I'm the old one now, so they relate to the girls really well.
Just don't use the old word, okay? Again, they played for Coach Ray over at Campbellsville, and Miranda's got pretty deep roots here at Somerset also. So, having said that, let's just take a half a second and remind everybody this is Lake Cumberland Sports. We're doing the annual coaches show here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. And if you're coming to Buffalo Wings and Rings, one, the food's good. And I know yours is probably getting cold right now. We'll get to that in just a minute. But if you want to buy a gift card, they're selling $25 gift cards, and they put a $5 one on top of it. So you're going to get $30 worth of gift cards if you come by tonight for $25 here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Don't forget that. Our thanks to all of them. We're going to have 7 coaches come through here. Coach, how about support? I know last night was Meet the Jumper night. I can remember those from a few years back. Everything so far, a little smaller school, not quite the size of Lincoln, not as many students in the hall, not as many bodies wandering around that you go, wow, that could play.
Yeah.
Have you adjusted to the fact that it's a smaller pool?
I'm getting there. I'm adjusting. It has been a challenge, the numbers being lower and things like that. I still see kids walking the hallway, and you play basketball, you need, but the support's been great. Coach Burkett and AD role has been wonderful so far, and the parents from day one, I want to just give them a shout out. They have been. Our motto's been they tagged it all in, and they have been all in. They've been great. They're being positive and upbeat, and super excited about the season. And I think just a change, and I'm really looking forward to working with them, and they've been wonderful support.
I think you'll find that Somerset High School really supports athletics. And if you can get your kids, and I know you can, you'll get them to play hard. They'll be patient, and I'm excited to get to see you guys on the floor because We will do a handful of your games this year and then all the district, region, that kind of stuff. But hopefully we'll be able to help you in any way we can with getting messages out about something y'all are trying to do, fundraising, anything that we can help. We'll be more than glad to.
Appreciate that.
I want to see you girls play. I mean, I'm anxious. When am I going to get a chance? When do you open? I've got the schedule in front of me. I probably should know that. You get Russell County right off the bat?
Russell County, November 30th, and we'll actually be the second game that night. Our boys, we had a little middle school, or got a choir program that night too, and some of our girls are involved in that, so we switched game times with the boys for that first opening game.
You're off on a great start. You just said something and you let it just bounce off. You swapped with the boys and nobody got real excited about it, right?
Well, we've got to swap to get the girls in there.
Certainly, but what I'm getting at is you've got to have a relationship, particularly at a school like Somerset. That's one gym. That's not a gym with enough room to put people on one end and people on the other end. Mm-hmm. That's one gym, and you have to learn to support each other.
Yep. So
how you like playing in that Cracker Box?
I loved playing in Cracker Box gyms. I loved Monticello's gym when I was growing up, playing in that.
Yes.
I always loved Somerset. Now, the coaching aspect of it, I'm getting used to that. Not having room on the sideline.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember my playing days. I felt like Judy Mason was out at the three-point line.
She guarded people all night long when she was here.
I can remember telling Coach Colossi years ago, I'm going to run over her before the night's over because she was out on the floor. So hopefully that won't be me.
Let's do a little more pedigree just for fun. People may not know you that well. Like I said, I got to see you play probably 7th, 8th grade on. But people may not know you that well. What do you want to tell the fans? Because not only is this live, this is there, and they can go back and watch it. And what do you want to tell the fans that Cassandra's going to be all about this year at Somerset?
I'm about the kids. I don't do this for myself. I had a successful career. I was blessed. The Lord gave me the ability to play basketball, and, my past is the past. This is the future. I'm a coach now, and I'm here for the Lady Jumpers of Somerset. I wouldn't have taken the job for any other reason. It's not about me or anything that I've ever done. It's about these young ladies, bettering them as basketball players, but really also teaching life. The game of basketball doesn't last forever. There's more to life than the game of basketball, but life lessons can be learned through that game. So hopefully they'll learn some of those things along the way.
Don't downplay the fact that I think you've got over 200 wins in your coaching career, too. It's not like you just picked the ball up for the first time and have decided to coach. You've got a pretty storied record there on and off the court. All right, we've talked about support. We've talked about kids, goals. What are you shooting for? What if you said at the end of the season, Mike, we're sitting down in May, and we're just going to recap what happened. What are you looking for? What would make you go, that's a pretty good start?
I want to be, we said as a team, we already sat down and set some team goals, and they want to win a district title. And I don't see that's not possible for this team. There's some things that's going to happen, to be put in place to make that happen. But, we want to see a district championship come back to Somerset, and we want to compete for a region title. There's things, again, that's going to have to happen and be put in place for us to do those, but they're very capable young ladies.
Welcome to Somerset.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Glad to be wearing the same color as you for the first time since I can remember. Look forward to the season, and again, we'll get to see you in the gyms pretty soon. I think the Pulaski game, I said, is the first game they'll do with you guys. Best of luck. If there's anything we can do other than wish you well, I wish you well.
I appreciate that. And I also want to say thank you, Mr. Lively, our superintendent.
Yes.
When I sat down with him, and every time I see him since then, nothing but kind words, always asking, how am I doing, what can I do for you? Mr. Wesley, Miss Baker, our principals, have been wonderful so far to work with and very supportive. So I'm excited to be a Briar jumper, a lady jumper, and very thankful also for my family who supports me.
She's Cassandra Peak McWhorter, the new head lady of the Somerset Briar Jumpers Lady Basketball. We look forward to spend some time with you guys this year. Best of luck. Thanks for your time, and see you in a gym somewhere pretty soon.
Yep, see you in that Cracker Box. Thanks for having me.
We are at Buffalo Wings and Rings here on South 27. And tonight, if you get a chance, stop by. $25 gift card will get you $30 worth of Buffalo Wings and Rings on the side, and we're going to say step out with Coach McWhorter and myself. Coach Ryan Young and Chris Staten are going to step in. So for us, stick around. We've got about 2.5 more hours of this. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you.
We okay? Nothing silly in there.
No, that's good.
Hey, girl.
This one's fifth grade, so this is about what size I was.
How you doing, Coach?
Going on?
Now, is your brother still in school?
Yeah, he's got one more year. He's playing at Cody.
Is he at Pete? Where is he?
He's there in Allison.
Allison.
Yeah, they fell one game short last year to make the national tournament.
Testing 1, test 2. Test 1, you good? You hear me okay, Coach?
Yeah, sounds good. What about me? Test.
Turn you up just a little bit. Does that sound good on him? Okay. Again, continuing on with the Somerset theme, I'm Chris Staten, and I'd like to welcome to the show new Somerset High School boys basketball coach, Ryan Young.
Hey, thanks for having us. Like I was telling you over there, this is a great event to have, great kickoff for really every school in this county. Just a great kickoff of basketball season. Excited about it.
Yeah, we're excited to get basketball going. We've got, watched some college basketball, but high school basketball getting ready to get started. So I know you guys have been working off season, some scrimmages going on. What has coming to Somerset, small time school, this and that, how has that been so far for you?
Yeah, it's been a great transition. It's like I've told some other people in a few other interviews we've done. It's a little different for this program right now than it has been in the past. There was a lot of multi-sport athletes that were in the program. For us, in particular this year, we've had a lot of guys that have actually went through our fall camp. So I've had them, since I've taken over, and then when we came back for school, we put in a lot of time on the track, a lot of time in the weight room, a lot of time in skill development. So I'm excited about getting to see these guys get out there and have an opportunity to play, because I know a lot of them are hungry for that chance.
Sure. You're obviously no stranger to the 12th region basketball. And before we get into the team a little bit, maybe a lot of people don't know a whole lot about you. You played in the 12th region, you coached in the 12th region. Give us a little background about Coach Young.
Yeah, 12th region basketball has been my life. I was a player at Lincoln County. Was very fortunate to be a part of some really nice basketball teams. We won a couple regional championships my junior and senior year. Had the opportunity to play in college, and then as soon as I came back, I was assistant coach at Bull County, and then hopped over to Garrett County and spent several years there. And just blessed with this opportunity and another chance to lead young men and just be an impact for them on a day-to-day basis. But, like you said, I'm no stranger to this region. I'm used to competing with, all these coaches, all these great teams in this region, and it's just always exciting as a competitor when you have that opportunity and chance.
Sure. Okay, so let's get the doom and gloom out of the way. All right, team comes off a 14-8 season, losing a district opener against Rockcastle County, but this is going to be a completely different team. I can guarantee or almost guarantee that there's not another team in the state that has the attrition and the turnover that Somerset's going to have to deal with this year. You lose 10 of 15 players that basically played valuable minutes and scores and this and that from last year's team through graduation and transfer. Let's talk about this team a little bit this year.
Yeah, it's always challenging, but since I've came in, it's like I've told our guys, we can't look backwards. We can't look in reverse.
Right.
It's all about what we do in the here and now and every day. For me personally, it's probably good as a new coach coming in to be able to set my foundation and our culture with, new guys that haven't had somebody before them, leading them. So I feel like our guys have been very receptive to, what we're trying to teach and what we're trying to do with our program. Schedule's super tough to start the season. So that can go both ways. You know, the way we want to look at it is opportunities. Where we playing these top teams in the region the first couple weeks, we get that on film, and that's going to be a blueprint for us to try to get better and see what areas of weakness we need to improve on, and that's kind of the steps we're going to be taking. But our kids are fighting and they're competing, and I'm looking forward to watching them play, and I think we're going to be able to surprise people because we're going to continually be able to have a higher ceiling just because these kids don't have a lot of experience. So the more they get to play and mesh with one another, I feel like we're going to continue to get better throughout the course of the season.
You know, just a couple of seniors coming back here, Jack Harmon, Logan Purcell, Christian Lay, and Zane Stinson. You know, all those kids have saw action last year and are going to be, you know, asked to step up and lead your team for you this year.
Yeah, and I've kind of used the phrase, you know, we are young, and the bulk of our team is in our sophomore through eighth grade classes, but we're kind of a young old team. So we do got 3 or 4, you know, integral seniors that are going to be important, and they've practiced and competed against really good players the last 3 to 4 years within their practices, you know, facing the Cades and Kai Sharons and, you know, so on and so on. But immediately when it pops out, you know, Jack has really transformed his body. You know, he's cut some of the weight that he had coming in this summer and really has been a warrior in the weight room and on the track. So I think he's going to be a pleasant surprise in our region. I think he's a solid big guy that can step outside and make mid-range shots. So we're going to play through him quite a bit because he's a good passer as well from the high post. So I think he's a solid anchor for our team offensively. And then when you look at a kid like Logan Purcell battling against all those good guards that have been in this program, he's just a really solid kid and a solid leader. I mean, he's a Governor Scholar, so he's a super smart kid. He picks up on concepts well. And then he's just a really, you know, he's our vocal and just energetic leader that we have. He's very passionate, and he's a competitor, and he wants to be successful. Zane Stinson, he does bring a skill set. He can shoot the basketball. He can stretch out and make some shots. He's another kid that's tried to work really hard on transforming his body in the weight room. He's picked up some muscle tone. Zane's just got to get more comfortable on the floor and play with more confidence. That's kind of his thing. And then Christian's just a really smart basketball mind. He's a really great locker room kid. The kids really love him and look up to him, and just another really good leader for our team.
Yeah, and those will be the ones that you look forward to lead your team. You know, you talked about Logan Purcell. I had the opportunity to coach Logan in baseball. Love his attitude, love his heart. He is going to go out there and work for you, give you everything he's got. So, you know, again, that's a nice senior leader that you can put the ball in his hands and run your offense for you too.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be able to bridge that gap for us. With that, you know, I played the position as well. I was a point guard.
Sure.
So it is a difficult position. You know, you got to be an extension of your head coach. So there's going to be some growing pains with that, but he wants to be good at it. He's a kid that's always asking questions about what we're doing schematically. And then after our scrimmage last week, he's really dove into film and trying to make corrections off some things he can do better.
Nice. So moving to your junior class, I only have 2 of those, Ethan Gadberry and Jack Brunner.
Yeah. So I was talking to Coach Burkett, our athletic director, today. Jack is just, I mean, he's just one of a kind. I mean, to put it, I've never
put it nicely.
Never coached a kid like Jack. I mean, he's just so high energy, and instantly when he came back from football practice, our practices increased a whole nother notch.
Sure.
Just because he's going to bring physicality and toughness, and once he knocks a little bit of that rust off and understands what we're trying to do from a schematic standpoint, I think he's going to be an asset for us this year moving forward, because we definitely know what we're going to get from him toughness-wise, energy-wise. We just got to try to keep him even. Is the best way to put it, and not be so too high or too low, and try to keep him a little bit more even.
Then you talked about your bulk of your roster comes in your sophomore class. You have Jamison Coomer, Caden Samala, Ben Godby, Indrid Whitaker, Jace Combs, Nate Luttrell, Jesse Hampton, and Collier White. That's a big sophomore class.
Yeah, it's a super deep class, and really, when you look from the whole standpoint of that class, there's a lot of diversity in our guard play. Like you mentioned, we picked up Jamison and Indrid this summer.
Transfer from Southwestern.
Yeah, and both of those two add an element that we need. They're different and they're compatible with each other. Jamison's more of a toughness, ball handler, scrappy driver. Indrid has several tools on the offensive end of the floor. I really expect for him to have a breakout type of season. He's a really quality shooter, high school shooter right now with deep range. He can really knock down a three-point shot. But he's a little bit more craftier than what people give him credit for. He can be a secondary ball handler for us and get us into our offense, and he's able to get into the lane. He's deceptive with his moves and able to make that mid-range shot. So both of those two, Jamison is dealing with an injury right now, but we should be getting him back soon. So both of those two definitely add to our backcourt in a positive way.
Yeah, you talk about Jamison dealing with the dislocated finger right now. Hopefully do get him back soon to help you guys out. And then you have a deep freshman class. You'll be able to have a good JV and freshman team. Riley Waddle, Landon Lineski. Thank you. Landon Lineski. Josh Brunner, young brother of Jack. Isaiah Lewis, Bryston Stone, and Reagan New.
Yeah, and like you said, that's another deep class that we have. Landon is actually, 6'5", 6'6" freshman. He started goalie on our regional championship soccer team. So he got a lot of confidence from that. And honestly, that's a position that translates well for a post guy. He's really good moving his feet. He has nice hands. He's a guy that can factor into what we're doing with our varsity picture this year just because with his size, it transfers over. He helps us defensively, helps us rebounding. Once his conditioning catches up, he's going to be a force, and he's going to be a player to be reckoned with. And this year, but looking out and branching out in the next couple of years, I think he's really going to be a quality big guy in our region. Riley Waddle has great athleticism, great slasher. He's just like a lot of our other younger kids. The more you move up the ladder playing the game, the more sophisticated it has to get. So sometimes our kids are able to get by on athleticism and pure skill, and that basketball IQ part has to catch up. So it's a deep class, and we're really excited about those classes and really excited to see what they can do on the floor. Getting Josh Brunner in, kind of late from football, he's getting caught up to speed. I think he really got a lot of confidence from the back end of football season where he was starting quarterback reps. And that's one thing you see with him when he plays the game of basketball. He has great floor vision like a quarterback, and I think he can definitely be a prototypical point guard in our program eventually.
Yeah, and you mentioned about getting in shape. These are young men that are in excellent shape and this and that, but there's a different shape that you come in that's game speed shape and conditioning for basketball than maybe they have been in football. So getting those guys in like you have, it'll take them some time to get into Coach Young's conditioning area where they need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at our guys we're getting off the football field, and, I love getting those guys in. I love multi-sport guys. I played 3 sports in high school, and I think you gain something from every sport that you play, every different leadership direction that you can pick up from that. But you stop every play after football,
Right.
So we're trying to get the ball up the floor a little bit and play out of our primary breaks and our secondary breaks, and it's just going to take some time for those kids getting in the gym to pick up speed on what we're doing.
Right. And don't want to leave out your 8th graders. Got some young ones coming up. Aiden Absher, Jake Bartley, and Noah West from 8th graders.
Yes, and I would like to give a shout-out to our 8th grade team and whole middle school program. They're playing Corbin Middle School tonight, which is a big game, and they've had a very successful start to our season. I know that our 8th grade team is playing top-notch competition right now, and and several of those guys, and maybe even more than those 3 that are listed, are going to be able to roll up and play into our high school program some this year. The unique thing about those 3, they were able to utilize the supplemental year. So just another year to gain more strength, gain more knowledge, and specifically when you look at a kid like Aiden Abshire, he's really impressed in our high school practices. His ability to consistently knock down open shots and have a high basketball IQ has really progressed him in what we're doing in our practices, and he actually played a little bit in our varsity scrimmage the other night. So he's another young kid that is going to be capable of getting on the floor early in our program.
I want to touch on the schedule a little bit. You know, we got the players introduced. You talked about a tough schedule. You guys open up November 30th at home against Russell County. And then one thing about the schedule, and I want to get your take on it, you got a district game 2 weeks later there, December 9th. And how do you feel about this new format and playing those district games that early?
Well, it's different for me. Coming from the 45th district, we played all of our district games post-Christmas, which presented an issue in itself just because it felt like, in January you were playing a district game every night.
Right.
So if you had some sickness or you had a couple of injuries, which I've dealt with in my career, it makes it very difficult. Like I said earlier, it's going to be an opportunity. I know that first one is at Rockcastle County, and, they return the vast majority of their roster. But it's just going to be a great opportunity for us to go into and compete. And there's really no excuses just because everybody's young in the season, and they're going to be dealing with the same things we're dealing with as far as trying to get into our flow and how do we play and how can we be successful. So, to be honest with you, everybody's on the same par there with the scheduling.
Sure. You have a couple of holiday tournaments, down at Macquarie Central this year playing a tournament. Then you've got the Lake Cumberland Holiday Hoops Classic here over Christmas. And then after towards the first of the year, you'll have the All-A Classic, an opportunity to compete for that. And that's, something that small schools want to compete in. And you get to go up against, some of the better A schools here in the state. That'll be a good opportunity for these young kids.
Yeah, it's awesome for our school this year because we're actually the host school this year. So
nice, okay.
with the kind of getting behind hopefully the COVID situation, we'll be able to fill the stands and have just a great atmosphere. And I think it's just a great aspect of being at Somerset is just having that opportunity to play for a championship. And I think anytime that you're putting those tournament-like situations with your prep, your scout, your practices, game situations, it's only going to help you get prepared, for the 47th district tournament as we progress throughout the season. So it's another great opportunity for our kids.
Well, as we get ready to wind up tonight, I really appreciate you coming down here to Buffalo Wings and Rings and talking to us. I wish you all the luck this year. I know we'll have the opportunity to do a few of your games this year, so I look forward to seeing that. Is there anybody that I left out or that you'd like to talk about here before we get ready to get off the air?
Yeah, I would just like to thank everybody that has welcomed me into the Somerset family. You hear a lot about it before you actually get there and working, and just the day-to-day relationships with the people is so close-knit, and it's really been refreshing for me in my personal career, and it's really an exciting time for my family and just ready to get this journey started.
Well, Coach, this is Coach Ryan Young. I'm Chris Staten. Thank you all very much. Everybody have a good, happy Thanksgiving. Coach, we'll see you around the corner.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for having me.
Thank you.
Coach, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Welcome to Buffalo Wings and Rings Coach's Show. I'm here with Coach Junior Molden of the Lady Warriors. Coach, congratulations on 12th Region Championship last season. I think every team in Kentucky starts the season hoping their season ends at Rupp Arena, and you're able to accomplish that. So congratulations.
Great journey. I enjoyed the ride. You want to relive that all you can, but we're on a new journey this year, ready to start a new process.
Absolutely. Coach, you graduate a couple seniors that were real important to your program, and Alexis Smitty and Marissa Lovelace. I know those two will be missed. What did those two ladies help you establish in year 2 of your tenure as basketball coach at Southwest?
I think the biggest thing with them was establishing the culture of the We Greater. But to live it every day, them girls established that for us and set the tone for our program to have the success that we enjoyed, especially in the second half of the season last year.
So can we revisit last season for a moment? You play a schedule, Coach, loaded against the best teams in the state, and I know you do that for a reason. Your team's tourney ready, and your season ends on the floor at Rupp, like we mentioned, against Anderson County, a team that eventually loses in the Final Four to Sacred Heart, the eventual state champ. And, oh, by the way, Sacred Heart.
Oh, yeah, I went I know a lot of people think I'm crazy going on a school night up to Louisville to play Sacred Heart, but they've got a couple more players in. And, look, they're ranked nationally in the United States. So we seen today they're up in the top 15 in the United States. So we're going to know real quick where we're at. And, you know, they got what I want. We talk about regionals and districts and stuff like that. My dream is to do something really special at Southwestern. And we're going to work with our program to build that and leave it on the floor every day. It comes down, I tell our girls every day, we just want to enjoy the journey there. And we put a lot of work into this November 29th.
Okay, so you talked about Sacred Heart, the best teams. You're going to go chase it. You want what they've got. How important is it for you to play the best teams in Kentucky? You did it last year, looking at your schedule this year, doing it again this year. How important is that for you, Coach?
I looked at the Courier Journal that's come out with the rankings, the top 5, and we play at Sacred Heart. We play at Anderson County, number 2. We play at Bullitt East, number 3. I'm just I know that'll help us get ready for district and in regional time. The 12th region's hard enough as it is, but to play these teams in their own court, we're willing to travel and play the best in the state. And I think that sets the tone. It makes our practices every day more focused, more with a purpose.
Okay. Coach, let's go down this year's roster by class, and we'll introduce the Lady Warriors, the 2021-22 version. We talked about the 2 seniors that graduate last year. I've got you with 3 seniors. Is that correct?
Yes, Michaela Nordis, Sarah Neal, and Taylor Nelson.
And Michaela Nordis is somebody we saw on the floor quite a bit last season. Defensively, seems to be a really gifted player. What are you expecting to see out of her this year?
I'm going to start her at the 4 position starting the season here. She's lengthwise. She's going to help us create some more defensive things we want to do in the full court. I think she gives us an athletic ability that we could do a few. We're not going to win the same way we won last year, so we're looking for some other things, especially pressing, stuff like that, and Michaela's going to help us in that aspect.
So I'm gonna ask you a little bit. You said you're not going to win the same way you won last year. Talk to us about that. How'd you win last year? How'd you win last year, Coach?
I really had a strong Marissa Lovelace. We really used her as a backbone of our defense. Her and Kaylee Young, Alexa. Obviously, way we ran our offense, we were pushing, wanting to kick for the first good look or get to the rim, and I'm not sure we'll shoot as many threes as we did last year, especially changing point guards. But we're gonna still get enough up that people are gonna have honor of the fact we can shoot it. I'm really putting some emphasis on some other things as far as getting to the basket and things like that. I just, the great Phil Jackson always said, he won all them championships with Chicago Bulls. You're not going to win the same way every year. You better be prepared for more, especially in high school where you can't recruit. You're going to have new players every year. So I just feel like. I changed the way we played last year midway because I knew we were a good three-point shooting team. I knew we could play better with 4 guards. This year, there's going to be times that we may go 3 guards too big. So it's just, we might be playing some 5 out. I'm I'm going to try to make it a challenge for other teams that Scout does this year, and I think I can with the personnel I have in our roster.
So going down your roster, Coach, the junior class, you've got a strong junior class. Kaylee Young, Aiden Smitty, and Cameron Hall. Kaylee Young is a player last year, impressed me every time you all took the court. Generally, we saw her take on the opposing team's best player and would do a phenomenal job with that. Expected more of the same from her this year, Coach?
Absolutely. I expect her to be the best perimeter defender in the 12th region, and I believe wholeheartedly if we can keep her healthy, she's going to be she's going to shoot a few more shots this year. Here's the thing about Kaylee. She can play the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we get in foul trouble, I can mess around with our lineups and use her in different positions. She really dictated what I decided to do as far as our three-quarter court press defense last year, and I've got some more ideas now that I've got Michaela really coming on. Her and Michaela help us with some of our zone looks that we're going to do this year. I'm not right now, after playing the Saturday, I wasn't very happy with our half-court man, and we did some zone stuff, and the length starts to bother other teams. So Kaylee helps create things that I'd like to try, and early on in the season, I'm gonna test a few things and see what I can do there.
So another one of those juniors, Aiden Smitty. We covered the Lady Warriors quite a bit last year, like Cumberland Sports did. We started kind of talking Alexa and Aiden, the fire and ice combo, and Aiden really impressed me with her cool nature. She could drop three-pointers and just shot them like she intended to make them, every single one of them, and just that cool customer. And I've heard you mention that maybe she's going to be running the point for you this year. Yeah,
she's going to start out the season at the point, but that's not going to take away from her shooting ability. We got some girls that we can mix around and put her at the 2 or 3 if we need to. So playing alongside her sister last year, she got quite a few shots, especially the second half of the season when she came on. I was really, really happy with her. And the reason that she moved into the starting lineup was her defense. Her shot selection got so much better second half of the year, and then defensively she's improved and she's continuing to improve. Really looking forward to seeing how far she goes. I've been coaching that girl since 3rd grade. She's probably tired of me by now, but I know if there's one person, I've watched her play AAU, I've watched her play with other people, and I think I can get the most out of Aiden Smitty, and I will this year.
And she's a cool customer. Always been that way since 3rd grade, Coach?
Always been that way. She is, and I tell people don't compare the Smitty girls. Never.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely different in everything. Alexa would want to talk and want to yell at everybody and this and that. Aiden's going to do it differently. She's a quieter kid, and she leads by example, and we're going to win differently with her at the point this year, but we're still pushing the basketball. We're still going to be the team. Everybody wants to come out and watch that fun game of get up down the floor. She can do it well. And
you mentioned push the basketball, the swarming defense. Still going to see a lot of that?
Absolutely. I think that's what held regional title last year. We're not going to throw that away for sure. In fact, I think we can do some more trapping, some stuff that Coach Butcher taught me a few years back when I was assistant coach for him. I think I can use more of that this year with the personnel I've got on my roster.
And we already mentioned Michaela and Kaylee, both long
length.
I mean, going to be tough customers.
Yeah, I ran some 1-3-1 on Saturday. We played Nelson County up at E-Town, and they got a lot of deflections, make a lot of passes that are tough for teams. And we get out and run if we can get some deflections and stuff, and I'm really happy. You talked about another junior on that list, Cameron Hall. She come in and hit a quick 3 the other day. Really understands the game well, and she's come on in the junior class as well as far as helping us, and she'll be in the rotation.
Sophomores on the roster, Peyton Acy, Audrey Tudor, and Hope Stout. Peyton Acy kind of burst onto the scene last year, played some big minutes, could play inside, could play outside. Really never saw a shot she didn't like, but she would knock them down from everywhere. Really impressed with her game. What can we expect to see from Peyton Acy this year?
I also have 3 more sophomores before I get into Peyton.
Okay.
I got Kristen DeZarn, Riley Myers, and Shay Sieber.
Okay.
And I know I don't have everything on the cache they say for y'all to find, but them 3 girls are also sophomores. Peyton Acy, she was like a 6 starter. I started her earlier in the year, but I had her out of position last year. This year, I've got her where she needs to be. She's much more comfortable with how I run things, and I can't tell you how much that young lady's improved defensively. She's gotten so much better defensively. If I can keep her out of foul trouble, she gets a little too aggressive, and she's laughing right now, I'm sure, sitting in there. But it's, she's gotten better. I've just got to keep her out of foul trouble. She didn't understand man-to-man defense when I started coaching her a couple years back. She understands it now. She knows how important she is to us. And I'm going to start her this season at the 5, but not necessarily playing the center position. We're more of a, 2 forwards. Sometimes we'll play some 5 out with her. She can step out. It's going to be hard for the other 5 on an opposing team to guard her. And I know that if I can put her in the correct positions. And I've been working on that hard in practice. Audrey Tudor, you talked about her. She's out right now with a broken, a fractured left hand. She's that bulldog that goes in there and battles. I need to get her. I'm hoping to get her back around Christmas time. Looking forward to seeing what she can do. She's going to help us once we get her healthy. And then Hope Stout, you spoke about her. She has just jumped on the varsity with us, proving every day. She's played for me since she was in 4th grade as well, and look forward to seeing what she can do at the 4 and the 5 position.
Freshman, and again, I may have some missing. Kinsley Molden, Jeslyn Flynn, and Ava Jones. Kinsley had a fantastic season last season. Of course, playing for her dad, that has to be tough. But she does a great job out there. Really led the team at times and shot the ball just exceptionally well.
Yeah, she come on really shooting. I was planning on using her more off the bench last year, and she started the season so strong, especially shooting the ball. And I give a lot of credit to Casey Dalton, my assistant coach. With her, he really brought her along after practices. Alexa Smitty really pushed her hard. They were close as sisters as her and Aiden, and Alexa really put the mindset in her of win or die. I mean, that's just the way Kinsley thinks, and it's not easy talking about that when she's your daughter, but it's the way she is. She has been since she's been in middle school for me, and I know it's a challenge playing for her dad. It's tough. I'm on her pretty tough, and if I can keep her healthy, she's got a little bit of a hamstring issue right now in practice. Last year at the end of the season, we didn't really – everybody, when you go to the doctor, they tell you to get tested for COVID.
That's right.
She got tested for COVID 100 times, ended up a month there. She had mono, and we didn't know it. And so at the end of the season there, she had a little spout where we had her down, but she come back stronger up and shot the ball extremely well. I think she shot it right at the 45% clip at the 3, and that's pretty good. Pretty good for a young lady like her. I'm really happy with her. You said Jeslyn Flynn. She has come on the scene, been my 6th man, and really had a good Saturday scrimmage. Extremely strong. She is another reason I'm changing some stuff defensively. She gets after, she plays hard. She goes and gets you that extra possession, offensive rebound. Her and Aiden Smitty are just unbelievable on getting weak side rebounds offensively and keeping the ball alive, getting those extra possessions. So I'm looking to play her, Aiden, and Mo more together. And looking to do some more full court, extended stuff, some trap stuff because of Jeslyn. And I'm looking forward. I think you mentioned Ava Jones,
yes,
Abigail Strunk. Ava Jones has worked her way to a varsity spot now. She's playing the 4. She has put the time in, worked on her post moves, finally getting up down the floor the way I like. And the body language was the biggest thing for her. She has improved it tremendously, working hard. I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do going forward with her JV group, but she'll be on our varsity roster this year.
Now, there's an 8th grader listed on your KHSAA roster, Jordan Mcdonald. We talked about her last year, and I think if I remember you, Coach, I'm going to quote you, no one hated to lose more than you, maybe except for Jordan Mcdonald. Is that still the truth?
Yes, she ranks up there with Kinsley Molden and Alexa Smitty on losing is not an option. It's the end of the world, and she doesn't want to lose, and she'll do whatever. I feel like sometimes I need to do better in practice to help her get better. She absorbs everything. Smart kid. Her and Kaylee Young just so smart. They can play 1 through 4 position-wise. For an 8th grader, that's saying a lot. Kaylee, she's been in the program a long time. For Jordy McDonald to be able to come back, she's from 100%. She is immediate. She's someone in that lineup that we're going to use this year if we get her 100%. But I'm being protective with her right now, making sure. Being an 8th grader, I know the future with her is extremely bright, and I don't want to mess that up.
She's one of those players that has that killer instinct. You can tell that, and you're right. The future is super bright. Couple 7th graders on the roster that I saw.
I better name these up because we are more 7th graders than anything that I have brought up.
I'll let you take it.
And let me say this about my 7th grade group. I hope I got enough time. They are the state runner-up middle school. They were Coach Casey Dalton at Hillsmith High School. He coached the 7th grade. Him and Kevin Dalton, our softball guru at Southwestern, and they done such a great job. We got beat by 1 point on a tough play at the end of the 7th grade state tournament. I'm so proud of this group. They were so proud that I said, I'm bringing them all up, as many as I can here.
Absolutely.
So I brought up Kenzie Williams, Kylie Dalton, Kiara Scott, Molly Osborne, Trinity Carell, Samaj Artis, Andrea West, and Claire Marie Ramsey. These girls just they're getting better and better. Now they're getting their challenge in practice right now against these older girls, but a few of them are going to come on up to the varsity. Kylie Dalton has earned her spot. my opinion, she was a 7th grade state MVP. I know how good she is in softball. She's got a chance to be that good in basketball. She's got that warrior instinct. I'm really happy with where she come, especially through the middle school season into high school here. Kiara Scott has earned a varsity spot at this point. She's going to be playing freshman JV varsity. Gotten a lot better since October 15th as far as coming to the high school. Just strong defensively, always got a smile on her face, wants to learn. Could be really special down the road. She's got a chance. She come over a bad injury last year in her 6th grade season, come back, and she is strong. And so I'm looking forward to that. Molly Osborne, I think she's just about earned her varsity spot. She's right there, and she knows it. I'm showing her signs in practice where she's at. Short corner, she knocks down everything. Getting stronger on the rebounding edge, and just better defensively. I give that all to Coach Casey. He's really worked with that group as far as bringing them along. Kenzie Williams is another one. Got all the skill in the world. If you was watching her in warm-ups, forms there, everything's there, just a focus thing. I got to get her to focus better. She's right there on the line for a varsity spot. And I'm looking forward to where these 7th graders go. And I'm going to have more 7th graders on the varsity than probably anybody in the state of Kentucky, the way it's looking right now. There's some of these other girls that are going to fight for spots. I got Riley Myers right there really fighting from a sophomore spot. She's got better at her post-up moves. But I'm looking forward to the fact that they battle every day. I tell them I'll change the varsity roster each and every game if I have to. And I did last year. It doesn't bother me a bit. Whoever's competing, playing with a purpose, I give them the opportunity to play. And I've scheduled so many freshman games, JV games, that it could change throughout the year. But that's where we're at right now. As far as our roster, I think we went through every name. And
we don't leave anybody out.
I don't think we left anybody out as far as going through the names. But I want to talk about my coaching staff before y'all throw me off the air. I've already talked about Coach K. Here's the thing I'm so happy about is when I got into this, I was kind of doing the middle school by myself and all that. Now I've got my whole coaching staff at the middle school, plus Kevin Dalton, our softball guru that's turned our softball program into a contender now. And it's the coolest thing about having Casey Dalton. Michelle Markham is my other assistant, my statistician. And then I brought Kayla Holland, who's already played for me in this program. She's come on and doing a great job with my freshmen, did a great job with my 6th grade team this year. They all graduated at Southwestern, and they've all understand what it means to put Southwestern on their chest. Casey Dalton was a great player here. Markham graduated here. I played here at Southwestern, graduated here. And to have them to come down to the middle school and help build my program, our program, I should say, it's been so beneficial as far as going up to the high school level. I'm down there every day with them. I think our middle school, if we keep working there, we're always going to be in the conversation in this 12th region if we continue to put our time in there. And my staff has. I can't say enough about them. Marissa Lovelace still comes in every day. She was in there in practice today.
I saw her here today.
She's out here, and I had a couple coaches out today. She come in and helped today. When Alexa's not lighting it up at Trevecca, she's down there helping us. Brittany Combs still comes in, an old assistant that I've had. She still comes in, tries to help us out, and I'm just so fortunate to have the people. You didn't know how much help you needed until you got into this head coaching position, and I'm lucky to have the help I got.
Well, Coach, it's always a pleasure covering the Lady Warriors, and you're always a pleasure to work with.
Thank you.
Your intensity and the way you schedule teams, I know you're going to have a top-notch squad each year in, year out while you're at the helm of the Lady Warriors. Coach, good luck to you, as you kick off this season in pursuit of another district championship and 12th regional title.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you very much. Michael Gray with Coach Junior Molden here on Lake Cumberland Sports. If you're not here, come on out and check out Buffalo Wings and Rings. They've got a gift card special. I think you get a $30 gift card for the low price of $25 right here at Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you for having me on. I hope I got everybody in.
You got everybody in. It's always a pleasure.
Test 1, test 2, testing, test. You hear me okay, Coach?
Yeah, I hear you.
Turn him up a little bit. Should be good, I think. Ready? You ready to go?
I'm ready.
I'd like to welcome everyone back to the preseason coaches show here from Buffalo Wings and Rings. I'd like to welcome to the show head coach of the Southwestern Warriors, Jaron Dunbar. I know that feels a little bit strange to me, but
Yeah,
I'm.
it's hard to get used to.
Yeah,
I'm still struggling with it sometimes.
But for me, I'm glad that we got to keep you in the county, man. You have a good coach like yourself. This community needs good coaches, and whether or not you move across town or go to schools or whatever, I'm glad you got to stay in the community.
Well, this is a very, very special area. Growing up, I never seen myself living in Somerset, but since we're here, we fell in love with it. It's growing, and this community right here has a lot of good athletes. I mean, every school, every year, they're always competitive in all sports. So, it was not an easy decision. It was very hard at times, but I feel like I made the right one, for longevity and everything, and everything's working out.
Good. So you talk about, you moved from the 47 to the 48. Has the transition, anything out of the crazy been for you?
Well, it's just been trying to build a culture, trying to starting over, implement what we want to get done, trying to change these kids' mindset. We got to change our practice habits. But, going from the 47th to the 48th, the whole 12th region is just packed with really good basketball.
Sure.
It's so solid. It's probably the most solid region in the state, in my opinion, just because you get good basketball, you get good fundamental basketball. I think there's great coaches in the region. You get to that regional tournament, you got a shot, because on any given night, anybody can beat anybody. The 47th, it was tough in there with all those teams, and the 48th, you're over here. McCreary's got one of their best teams they've had maybe ever or in a long time. Wayne County's always a dangerous team. I got high respect for both those programs and both of those coaches. So it's going to be a battle. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, Coach Wood's been down there since 1989, I believe it was, so a little bit of history down there. Coming in and taking over a new team, we won't talk a whole lot about last year's team. We finished 10-12 last year, 6-7 in the region, 3-2 in the district, lost to Pulaski County in the 12th region tournament. You returned 9 players from that team a year ago. How's early returns been for you during the off-season, preseason games, scrimmages? How's new coach and new team melded together?
Well, first thing I want to do is develop relationships, and we've done that. We're all on the same page. Everybody gets along. They're understanding, how I want things done. But with the 9 players coming back, only a couple of them had quality varsity experience.
Right.
Andrew Jones had a lot. Eli Meese had a lot. Campbell Coffey had some. Brody Perkins, he's had some. We just got him in today from football. So those guys, they're starting to see, what it's going to take. We went over to Metcalf last night, and honestly, they give it to us. We got manhandled over there just because we weren't ready for the physicality. You can talk about it all you want, tell them what's coming. Because today's practice, we preach defense, and our defense was not good last night. I think our offense, we're going to be able to score some. Especially we got some good shooters, and if we're all on the same night, it could be a long night for someone. But on the flip side, we got to be able to guard people. So that's something we've really been trying to zone in on and work with throughout practice. And today we had a really good one. We had a really good film session, just breaking down film and showing, here's where you should be. This is what we did not do correctly last night, and everything's correctable. So that's always good.
Well, and knowing you the way I do, I know you hang your hat on defense and you want the intensity from those kids. So, I know that's something that you'll get from them as the season goes on. So, let me shut up and get out of the way and let you introduce this 2021-22 class of Warriors.
Okay. Well, I'll just go down my list here.
Okay.
We've got a numerical order. Eli Meese Jr., probably one of the best shooters in the region. I told him last night before the game, I firmly believe he can be a 40+% three-point shooter on the year. But what's going to get him down in the low 30s would be shot selection. And that's something he's really good shot selection last night, but he can really shoot it. Andrew Jones, our returned senior, and thank God he returned. He he's very, very underrated in this region. He's a kid that nobody really talks about, but he can play a 1 through 5 for us. I've got him at point guard right now. I'm hoping to be able to move him off the ball to get him in more scoring opportunities.
Sure.
But he's a really nice player. J.J. Hutchinson, Jr., he's coming in from football. We'll have him tomorrow, like what I saw from him this summer. Andrew Branscombe is a senior, has not played basketball in 2 or 3 years, and he's came back this year. He could be a great role player for us. Colin Burton, sophomore, coming off the football field. Isaiah Hatfield, he's coming to us. He's not played in a couple of years. You know, we've got several of those kids on this roster. But going back to Colin, you know, he was a football quarterback, I believe. We had him this summer, and he was a little timid this summer, but I think coming off the football field, he seems more engaged, and he seems like he's ready to go. Isaiah's a great athlete. Colton Smith Jr., knockdown shooter. Connor Hudson is a kid that once he gets it figured out, he's going to be really good. Nice. He's one of our best. He's probably the best athlete on our team right now, but he is a kid that could come on and really make a name for himself this season. Cameron Shipp is a sophomore, really gritty, hard-nosed player. Colin Hibbert, another sophomore. He's hurt right now. We hope to get him back. Hunter Lewis, sophomore, gritty as can be. Hagan Galloway, will get him tomorrow, coming off the football field. Hagan showed us a lot of promise this summer as well. Hunter Ham, sophomore, he's going to have a really good future with us. Campbell Coffey got some time last year as a junior. He's probably our best defensive player right now. Christian Walden, he's kind of banged up. He's coming from football as well. And then Brody Perkins, he started with us today. Brody's he's going to bring a lot of intensity, a lot of strength, a lot of toughness to our team.
So, you know, that, again, you're talking about, you know, bringing those 9 players back. And you talked about Andrew Jones, you know, he averaged 11.8 last year a game. Mm-hmm. And, you know, to have that type of kid, like you said, that you can put anywhere from the 1 to 5 spot, opens up a whole lot of options for you. It
really does. You know, he's the type of kid where he shoots the ball well. He's a post-up problem. He's going to be a mismatch a lot of nights for opponents because if you put somebody small on him, we're going to put him right down the post. If there's somebody a little bit bigger, we're going to bring him out on the floor, see if he can get around them. But he can shoot the ball well too. You know, we got to get him in some screen action, some down screens, get the ball in his hands, let him create some. He's smart too. He's a really good passer.
Nice. So, you know, that's your varsity team, and I know you talked a little bit about you talked about some JV kids, but you want to go ahead and talk about your JV roster also?
Yeah, I'll move on to freshmen.
Okay, sorry.
All those guys all play.
Sure.
But our freshmen, Ian Parris, Chandler Taylor, Jace Gager, Paxton King, Hunter Osborne, Michael Beckham, Landon Haney, Trenton Landrum, Zach Hutchinson, Nish Patel, and Adam Markham. Nish, Adam, and Zach, they're all 8th graders that we pulled up. This class right here, we've really got to work the fundamentals with them. They're very good kids. I think they're going to be a team, much like our varsity. You're going to see them improve as the season goes on, you know. So what you see early on in the year is going to be completely different by the end, you know, because they've got to buy into the system too, buy into the system as well. Hunter Osborne just came from the football field. I think he's the only football player in that group. Ian and Chandler, they've both been with us ever since we started. You know, Chandler, I threw him in some varsity action last night. Ian can shoot the basketball. Chandler's going to be a really nice player for us here in a few years. Jason, Paxton, they've been tough. They want to get better. That's the good thing about this group right here. They all want to get better. You know, they're in the gym. They're working on things on their own. So it can be an exciting group, and like I said, one that's going to improve as we go.
And that's exactly, you and I have talked about, I think about it before, it's not how you start the season, it's how you end, obviously. You know, you want to get better each game, week to week, and to the point where you're there come 12 region tournament time and you're doing it. Speaking of that, I want to talk about this schedule a little bit. And okay. I know that you didn't have an opportunity to put much of the schedule together.
Yeah.
But if I'm reading this thing right, you've only got 2 home games in the first month.
We do, yeah. We don't have a home game until December 17th.
Right.
And that might be good for us. That'll give us about 6 or 7 games to work some kinks out before we play in front of the home crowd, hopefully. And then we got the holiday hoops. So we got quite a few coming up in the second part of the season.
And that, the holiday hoops is a big tournament around here. You will have some of those games will be played at the reservation.
All of our games will be at home.
Okay, so you'll have some of those games there, but still, one thing that I talked to Coach Young about, and I want to talk to you about, and I know this is not new to you, but the district games that you open up with, you play, the second week of the season. You guys have got Wayne County down at Wayne County, December 10th.
Yep.
How do you? I guess my question is, do you like that format now?
Well, not exactly, and I don't think probably any coach that sits there with a good football team will tell you that, because we've got guys that I told them all to be here. I give them a few days off. They're all supposed to be in the gym tomorrow.
Right.
So, and with the new system, we're going to have to go back and reteach everything to get these guys on the same page and let them learn the offense a little bit, our defensive principles and all that stuff. So early on, I'm going to have to learn a lot of patience. I'm not a very patient guy, but I'm going to have to learn a lot, but as long as these kids are going to give us 100%, and they played hard last night. Mm-hmm. They didn't get outworked. They did get out-toughed, but that's one of those things we're just going to have to work on with physicality, because it's been hard to kind of make that happen in practice.
Sure.
With what we have now, with the football guys coming in, it's going to get a little bit better, and the intensity is going to be better, and we can get a little bit more physical with each other. But yeah, playing district games early on, it is tough, but it is what it is.
Right.
You got to play them anyway.
And you talk about football guys coming in. There's a difference in being in shape and being in basketball shape.
Yeah.
And getting those guys out and to get them on Coach Dunbar's program and what you want to see, and to bring that type of intensity that sounds like that you need for these guys will be big when you get them in the fold.
Yeah. Brody was with us today. He was the first one to show up. He was sucking wind a little bit, and we didn't do a whole lot up and down the floor. It's just completely different conditioning.
Right.
And it's going to take them a little while to get into it. But one thing I know about Coach Foley is that he got his boys in shape, in condition. So I think they're going to be a little bit further ahead than I think.
Style of play for the Warriors this year, I know hard-nosed, gritty man-to-man defense. You're going to look to press a little bit more or this year with this bunch?
I'm going to be honest with you, it's still some things that are up in the air. We're still trying to figure that out just because we've not been all together yet.
Right.
I honestly don't know exactly how we're going to play. If it was up to me, I'd press every minute I could. But I think first thing is we're going to, like last night I told them, we're going to live and die by playing man right now. We're going to win games playing man. We're going to lose games playing man. And I think you got to play a good man before you can play a zone. But this could be, if they buy in defensively, this could be a really good man-to-man team, and it also could be a pretty good zone team. I don't think we're going to be a team that's just going to start out a game in a press, but who knows? They might buy into it so well, we might be able to. But we're going to be gritty. We're going to go as hard as we can on everything.
Sure. And I know one man can't do it all, even though that you answer for everything and the head coach. You want to talk about your assistant coaches and your support staff a little bit?
We have put together an extremely good staff. I'm very proud of it. Administration's done a great job with helping us with whatever we needed and getting these guys in. So my JV coach is Chris Talver. He's been a godsend. He is awesome. He's on our level. He understands what it takes to win. He's been a head coach. He's had college coaching experience. He was at Thomas Nelson High School for a couple of years. And we got very lucky to get him down here. So he's been tremendous. Coach Cody Ross, he came with me from Somerset. He's been with me the last 4 years. He's going to be our freshman coach. He's a guy I can call him anytime, say, hey, these kids need in the gym. Can you get them in? He's right there. He's always for the kids. Coach Sean Coffey, he comes over. He's actually my cousin. He's going to be helping us out. He's got 20-plus years of experience in coaching. He was assistant coach. His first year as being assistant coach was my senior year. So he's coached in the same system as I have under the Feldhouses. So he knows exactly how we run things. And then Mark Cundiff, he's coming over from football. He's my hype guy. He's the guy that the kids love, and he gets after them really well. He gets them pumped up and everything. So I think we've put together a really good staff.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to coach with Coach Cundiff football years ago, and so yeah, he's a pretty good hype guy.
Oh yeah.
So we were talking about the schedule a little bit, and the first home game not being until December 17th against Macquarie County, and then again you have the Lake Cumberland Hoops Classic that will kick off December 21st. You have a couple of looks like big tournaments this year that you guys are going to go to and travel and get to play in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to Clinton County before Christmas. That's going to be a good one for us. It's a 4-day tournament. Play teams we don't usually get to play. Valley High School, we're playing them out of Louisville. We'll play Clinton, and then we've got a couple teams from out of state. So it'll be a good tournament, and then the one we have here will be really good for us. We're hosting our Iron Warrior Classic. Pulaski's playing in that, but we're playing Taylor County there. So, and then we got a couple classics early on. So we're going to hit the ground running, and see what happens. And I think we have a very, very high ceiling.
Yeah, have fun with it. And I know you will. Like I said, I know Southwestern's excited to have you. I hate to see you, move on, but again, I'm glad that you're still in the community and doing it. I'm glad to see you over there. So, we talked about rundown of all your players and this and that, but we've got a few minutes left here before I let you go. Is there anybody that we've left out or that you want to talk about here?
Well, I want to talk about my managers. Okay. I've always been blessed with good managers. Gabe Nazario, he's a kid. I think he managed a little bit last year. He did their film. I know he did that last year, and he filmed for us last night. Grant Hall's a senior, and those two guys right there, they love being around the program. And you got to have kids like that. You got to have kids that are bought in and want to be involved and help out any way they can. So these guys are at practice. They're running the clock. They're doing whatever we need. Believe me, if I needed them to suit up, Grant Hall would be right out there. Right. And Gabe probably would too. And then my special manager, Dylan Lay, at Meet the Warriors the other night, he got the coach on the sidelines, and he's going to be there. He is wearing that title with pride. So he was all up and down the sidelines. He was getting all over Toby Durham whenever he was referee, and it was awesome. It was a night he's going to really remember. But those three guys right there, they're a part of this program just as much as players.
Well, again, the Warriors will be in action here November 30th, open up the season. And I want to thank Coach Dunbar for joining us tonight here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. And look forward to having a good season, and good to see you in the blue and orange, Coach.
Well, thank you guys for everything.
All right, thank you.
And welcome back to the Coaches Show as we turn up the volume, and that way you all can share with us here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Our Coaches Show, as always, we'll move along to the head girls basketball coach at Pulaski County High School. My good friend Chris Atkins steps in. And, Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mr. Kerr.
How's the golf game?
Cold.
Cold, okay, but it's still pretty solid, isn't it?
On Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays, okay. Yeah, Tuesdays. All right, we're going to talk basketball tonight. We are at Buffalo Wings and Rings. If you're out and about, we've still got Coach Atkins and I think Blake Burton's going to sit in for Coach Fraley tonight.
Yes.
And then Kirk Stickley from Somerset Christian. So we've still got a couple more to go. And want to thank the good folks here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. If you want to buy a gift card tonight, buy a $25 gift card. They're going to give you a $5 gift card free. You're going to end up with $30 of gift cards for $25. That's their special they're running tonight. Full menu, big crowd here tonight, and we want to thank everybody for coming out. But let's talk basketball, Coach. Coach Chris Atkins, Lady Maroons, I gave you my notes, so you just go ahead. You start, and you can interview. Chris and I go back for more than a few hundred years. But, again, Coach, last year a good season. You were 17-7, I think, last year. I think that's close. And, of course, anybody that had a winning record in the COVID year that we went through last year, I don't know how you kept a team together, let alone winning. And now we're looking at hopefully
some normalcy.
Some normalcy, if there is a possibility of such. Parents can go back to being normal. They can come to ball games. They can support kids. Hopefully they'll quit coaching, and they'll leave that up to you and your staff. But, again, you've got a nice staff this year. We'll get into that. But let's just talk about your basketball team. A couple of losses off that team last year, and Cawthron and Dunn and Wilson and others. But, again, that's a lot of points and a lot of rebounds off a basketball team.
And a lot of athleticism. I think the two first ones you named there, Cawthron and Dunn, won a few state track meet records last year if they got done with us. So our game plan last year was to go as hard as we could, as long as we could, as quick as we could. And it was pretty easy to make that decision because we was really short. And so we had to do what we had to do with what the personnel we had. This year we're much taller, got athleticism a little different. If you relate it to track, we had 100-yard dashers last year. This year we got the 800-yard dashers. So we're longer, and we're changing every day. We're trying to figure out what hole each plug needs to go in, and girls are working extremely hard and excited about getting started next week.
Well, you've got Oaks and Blankenship back, and between them, that's about 20, 22, 23 points a game that you get back of your offense. So it's not like the cupboard is completely bare. You've got some pretty experienced young ladies coming back.
Yeah, those two young ladies I call them fifth-year seniors because as eighth graders, it was my first year there, and we at best struggled. Those two girls started off and on that year as eighth graders, and they've been with me the whole time and gotten better every year. And this is their swan song, and they're excited about playing basketball this year.
Last year, district champs. Went on and lost in the region to a good Wayne County basketball team. My memory says I was there and watched that basketball game. And, again, I'm sure your expectations for this basketball team, no less than that. I'm assuming somewhere there's a board that says district champ, region champ, those kind of things. And, I see it stacking up to where you're going to have a shot at what I'd consider a wide-open district here.
Yes. When we first brought in Rockcastle and Casey County several years ago when I was still over Somerset, we knew that the boys seemed to get a pretty good deal because the Laurel counties left.
Yes.
And then we got a state champion and a state runner-up and a region championship out of those two schools for several years in girls basketball, and they were from our district. I know there were some years we'd beat everybody in the regional tournament, but we couldn't beat the two teams in our district. So it's a tough district.
You and, again, last year with a district championship with some experience coming back. Let's talk about some other bodies that you've got this year that everybody's going to get a chance to see, not for the first time, but more in a role of being more of featured players in this offense.
Yes, we've got a junior that transferred from Southwestern, Aubrey Dalton, and she's done a tremendous job. She moved and transferred in last spring, so she got to play with us this summer, and that was a good thing for her and us. And she's a nice ball player. She's been taught well. She does all of the fundamental things well, and she's an excellent shooter. So she fits into our mode. We like to shoot the three, and then we got the other two starters right now would be two girls that were our sixth and seventh persons last year, and Sydney Martin as a sophomore, and Maggie Holt's a sophomore, and they're both athletic as all get out. you know, they both play 3 sports. You know, they run track, they play volleyball, and they play soccer. You know, and they play basketball in the winter. So they're athletic as all get out. It's just now we got to get them fine-tuned into our system, and it's been fun to figure out where they need to be plugged in at.
And you mentioned earlier with Al Wilson, that was about the size of your basketball team last year. You had, and whoever else happened to be out there. This year, you've got a matchup issue for some other coaches. They're going to have to match you this year in size.
Yes, we've had to change some of our play structure up and how we're going to attack things. And, you know, we've got some girls that can – now when we go guard forward in practice, we got more than one girl down there, you know, so at the other end with Coach Fothergill. So it is an adjustment, and we're learning how to throw the ball to the post, you know, for a change. So, yeah, it'll be fun, and we've got several other young ladies that we're expecting big things out of for our varsity. And Abby Coomer played some last year as a freshman. She's a sophomore now, and she's a soccer player and a track star also, and she's extremely quick, and we look for things for her from the guard position. And then
pretty fine print there, isn't it?
Anna Muse is first out after sitting out last year. She's a sophomore. She's another post player that we've gotten back out that's going to help us some. Sarah Beth Thurman is another sophomore. She was playing some minutes last year for varsity and had a concussion protocol halfway through the year and had to take a seat for a long time there and kind of got behind a little bit. Savannah Heist is a freshman, is another big girl that loves to post up, is very physical on the post area. We're looking for big things from her. And then Isabella Ellis is back with us again, and she's a tremendous softball player, and we're excited to have her back on the basketball court with us. And she's got great hands, and she does good things for us, okay? And then we got a little 8th grader, little mad puppy, little Madeline Butcher. We've got a mad dog and a mad puppy. So she's stepping up and doing really good things for us as an 8th grader. So we're looking for her to be a nice player for us.
Just finally put a mental picture with a couple of the names that you just threw out there. You are going to have a good-sized basketball team. You have got some serious length on this basketball team.
Yeah, you know, a long time ago, somebody over at Somerset, Donna Ray, said, why – as everybody got bigger girls than us. And then when we looked at our mothers and fathers, you know, we were all kind of short.
Yes.
And now when you look at our team, and we look good in the airport, the parents do. We've got some good-sized parents. So
all-airport team.
Yeah, we got an all-airport parent team. So.
Oh, I love it. All right, you mentioned your coaching staff. You're under scrutiny right now. Keep an eye on that one.
I got it.
You mentioned – you mentioned your staff, and again, let's talk about it because you have added some names to this staff of your basketball team that I was sitting out there at the table with them. I think we could put a pretty good team together just sitting around out there with your coaching staff.
Well, Teresa Burkett Kelly.
Yes.
Her father coached for many years around here at Derry, and she played for Brian Miller there at Pulaski County, and then Delana Fothergill is another legendary name around in this area, this 12th region. And she's been with us a couple years now. And then we've added Jeriah Privet this year, another girl that played there at Pulaski. And those 3 girls are really good to play against in practice. You know, they're nice players. I'd like to have them on my team again. And then we got a young man by the name of Robert Jones.
It's kind of a newcomer to this area.
Newcomer to this area. He's never been in this district before, so he's having to adjust. He's never coached girls before. But we're excited to have Robert. He has a lot of knowledge, and he's very humorous, and he keeps me a little civil sometimes. So,
if you don't know Robert Jones, I'll tell you, look forward to getting to a game during the JV game this year when you can sit with these 2 guys and talk a little basketball. I think you'll find that to be enlightening. But, again, a good staff and something else that'll make it a little easier on you. But the fact you've got a big, you've got a wing, you've got a guard, and you've got a guy who's coached a lot of high school basketball.
Yes.
So you've got a lot of experience on your coaching staff.
We do. And you know, the girls love all the assistant coaches. They have a lot of knowledge to share with them. They look forward to every day coming to practice, And if one of them's got an obligation and can't be there, you know, where's Coach C? Where's Coach B? Where's Coach D? You know, we've all got initials.
Big dogs and little dogs and puppies. And
dogs and puppies. And, so we're having a good time every day. So
that's part of it, Chris. I don't know, and you and I go back a ways, but if the kids are coming and having a good time and working hard, it's a whole lot better scenario than they're being forced to get there. And you got to make them, you got to beg them to work. It's a little different feeling.
Yes, if a coach has to do that, if he's having to whip them every day, you know, to get them to do anything, or to hustle, or to try hard, or not pout, or what, then it's a losing cause. It has to be self-generated by the athletes, and they have to want to be there, and they have to want to get better. And when you have that, and when you have kids staying after practice shooting, then you know you got something.
And you can coach kids like that because you spend your time coaching, not trying to motivate somebody to work.
There you go. Amen. Amen.
All right, you've got a team that we've watched you play in the past, and I'm pretty sure you're going to press some people, maybe a little less with the bigger basketball team. I'm pretty sure you're going to shoot a few threes along the way, and you're going to play a lot of what people call a 2-3 zone. You can call it what you want to. You make a lot of shifts and changes and adjustments out of that. If you don't know what you're playing, you're hard-pressed to describe it. But, again, I assume that's what we'll look for this year, too, more of the same.
Yeah, we're not going to change up what we've done. You know, we instituted 5 years ago all the way up from the 6th grade up, and what we needed to, what we felt like was best for our program, and so the kids, by the time they get to the high school level, they've got most of the calls, most of the rotations, and most of the offense and defense in the repertoire already, and then all we got to do is put them in the right position to get the right outcome.
Not really that important, but it is to me. How important that is to be able to say we're building a winning program and be able to say my kids have been doing this since the 6th grade.
Well, the first year when I got there,
I remember you told me.
I was helping John Fraley, and we were having a good time. We were at basketball camp, and Mr. Butcher, the superintendent, walked up behind me and tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, "I want to take you to lunch." And he said, to this day, we play golf a lot together now, and he said to this day, he said, it just took one lunch, and I had Atkins about everything, and so he figured out I like to eat. So, you know, we walked in the gym that July. We had no summer ball with them. Didn't know any of the kids. I knew none of them. Several of them had transferred out already to other schools in our area, and there was nothing left. Shelby had tore her knee up. She wasn't going to be able to play that year, and May Dunn wasn't playing anymore. And I looked out there, and I had some kids that had won 2 games in the 8th grade the year before, and they were out there going to be our varsity. And we kiddingly said the 3-man weave, we spent all year trying to teach that to this group of kids. So when the 6th grade players come in the gym in the open gym or in the summer, they know 3-man weave. And you know, we can move on to more things. So.
You know, the key to that too is the coaching. You got to really love coaching. And you were very honest with me. I remember back before that first sit down, and you told me, it's going to be a long hill this year. It's going to be tough. We're not going to beat too many people. And, you know, I can sense by your voice this year, you got a pretty nice basketball team, and you look for big things out of this bunch.
We've had 2 nice scrimmages, you know, against some pretty good teams in regions far away from here, and different style of play. And, it's going to take some adjustment, some growing up, and rotations. Everybody's got to know where they're at, you know, and that's going to take some time. But athletically, I think we've got an opportunity to be pretty good by the end of the year.
Well, you got plenty of time to waste when you get ready for your schedule. I looked at it a little earlier, and I think you opened with Corbin.
Yeah, they've got all 5 starters back, plus a transfer.
And you're going all the way to Muhlenberg County to play against Davies County?
Somebody said we're going to pass 27 schools before we get there. Why couldn't we stop somewhere else?
And then Coach Mason up at Danville, you got them the 3rd game of the season, and they're going to be
favorite in the region.
If you believe people, they're probably the region favorite along with a couple others we can mention.
Right.
Then you got Lincoln and Casey. And probably our first game will be December the 17th when you play Somerset at home.
Yeah.
And by then you probably will have had a chance to at least get a feel for where you are as a basketball team?
Well, I think even the far western school, if you go back and look at all those names you just named, in the last 5 years they've won a regional tournament. May not have been the 12th, but they won a regional tournament.
Yes.
Corbin won the region over there. Those Casey and Lincoln and Rock, they've all won the region in the last 5 years wherever they're located.
So
Southwestern, woo.
They may be pretty good too. We say about a coach being comfortable in his skin, though. That means you can schedule like that and not worry about that. Maybe you're 3-2 or 4-1 or 2-3, whatever you are. When you come into that next stretch, you've been laying the groundwork for playing good teams the rest of the year too. So I kind of like the schedule you've got built out there. Some of the traveling, it's a little hard on me, but yeah, Muhlenberg County's a haul from here, boss.
Well, the COVID year got us into that. Last year we woke up on a Saturday morning, was supposed to be playing in Berea, and they had COVID called last minute, and that was on Friday night, and we had a home game with Southwestern, and somebody put on the text, the mass text to all the coaches that they was looking for a game Saturday morning. Well, we needed a game, so we got in the cars and drove to Owensboro.
Yes.
Drove to Owensboro to play McCracken County. And so there was no scouting that went on. And we drove all the way down there and played that game. And that happened several times to a lot of schools last year, And this year is going to be such a relief to get the games in and know the fans are going to get to come and grandparents are going to get to come and the kids are going to be excited again. The band's going to be there. And it'll be a fun atmosphere for them.
We hope to be a part of that fun atmosphere. And the other thing I would say to you guys, for everybody who coached through last season, you deserve something as a compliment from everybody else, because I was only around it a little bit, but I got to see the interruptions in practice schedules because of kids, or the interruption in games and rescheduling and missing a week without even getting a chance to play in the middle of the season, which you and I both know that's not good in any program.
We had athletes around the state that gave up in December.
Yes.
Like we had started, we'd stopped, and we'd started and stopped again before Christmas break.
I remember.
We got no Christmas tournaments. The kids that played spring sports, they're looking at maybe getting to start in January and maybe getting a month or so. And so many kids, many girls and boys quit basketball in December last year. And it was such a tough thing to take, for the kids. And they missed out on such a big, important part of their life, And so this year, if there's a better athletic director than Brian Miller, I don't know who it is.
He's a pretty good guy.
Yes, and he does a tremendous job, but he's there for the kids. And I don't think there's a coach that I know that I've ever fooled with, that I've ever been part of a program, that they didn't have the best interest of the kids in their heart. And if you have that, then these kids are going to have good memories when they get old like you and me.
And me.
My good friend.
My good friend, Chris. I do appreciate you, man. And again, the season ahead of us is going to be one we're going to laugh at each other a little bit. We're going to smile at each other a little bit. We're going to let Robert Jones hold court every now and then and fill me and you in on everything that we need to know. But most of all, I want to wish you the best. Tell your kids good luck. We'll be there to support you. If there's anything we can do to help, please let us know at Lake Cumberland Sports.
Appreciate Lake Cumberland Sports for all they do for the kids.
That's Coach Chris Atkins, head basketball coach of the Lady Maroons, and he's going to take a step out, and we're going to get – hi, Joyce. Joyce is sitting here with us, and we're going to get Blake Burton – man, I tell you, we have dropped the age limit. Did they card him coming in here by any chance? How you doing, man? Good to see you. I'm going to turn you up. Coach Blake Burton, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Me and you're under a watchful eye tonight. Tommy Claunch I think he's critiquing you and I pretty heavily. That's so right. I'm old enough, I'll just laugh at him, but you got to live around him.
Right down the road.
Coach Fraley could not be with us tonight. He's in a protocol of hopefully one of the last times we're going to use that term. And so Coach Burton has agreed to join us. First of all, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for showing up. And good-looking roster of a basketball team when we start out. You've been in the gym a little while. We'll get into all that. But first of all, just want to remind everybody, we are at Buffalo Wings and Rings down on South 27. And if you want to stop by tonight, was there still a pretty good crowd out there when you came in?
Standing room.
We've had a good crowd show up, and I think we're still one more to go after you, as Kirk Stickley from Somerset Christian will join us. So we've started at about 6:30. Been down the list, and Coach, if you buy a $25 gift certificate tonight at Buffalo Wings and Rings, they're going to give you a $5 one free. I would do the math on that, but we'll get in trouble. But anyway, if you spend $25, you get $30, and that's pretty good, and the food's pretty good here too. But come on out and join us. All right, let's jump in. First of all, thanks for joining. Coach Fraley said I'm going to send you the smartest guy on my staff.
I'm sure he did.
He did. And so I said, well, and then after I said, well, who's it going to be? He kind of laughed. No, I'm kidding. Pulaski County boys basketball team. I look at the roster. You've got 4 seniors on this basketball team. Look, coming back from last year, of course, we'll talk about Williams in a minute because I think he's going to be missing for a little while with an injury. But I looked, and you've got Williams at 15.8, Travis at 15.4, Lancaster at 10.5. with 7 boards, and Sloan at 8.8 and 6 boards. That's pretty good offensive production coming back on a basketball team.
Yeah, we bring back pretty much all the scoring except KJ. Dalton got in there a little bit, and then he had COVID, so he missed a lot of the year. So it's a good problem to have, I guess. We had Coach Fraley says all the time, the team is the seniors' team. So you look at the roster, and you're going to start with Zach Travis and Caleb Sloan, 2 guys that have been there seems like forever. Zach is who he is, athletic, plays on both sides of the floor, where he's going to look to carry the load offensively, but then he's going to turn around and he's going to have to guard the other team's best player. And then Sloan probably had the best summer of his 4 years here this year. You could argue he was the best player on the floor for us this summer. So we're expecting big things out of him. And then you add number 4 Gavin Stevens to the fold too. So I think he's really going to surprise some people.
I think he was about 14 a game for Somerset last year, wasn't he?
Yes, and he's actually probably going to give us more than what we originally thought when he first got in the gym. I mean, he made a lot of threes, and he's made a lot of threes in our gym against us. So he likes to shoot in the gym, but he's also going to be a surprisingly very good defender with that length.
Gives you a little more length.
Absolutely.
You lose Dalton, or you lose KJ Combs,
yeah,
who played a lot of inside basketball for you, but you gain about 5-6 inches in that
we
swap.
finally have a rim protector.
A rim protector, well said. Won a district championship last year.
Yes.
Started at a pretty high level for this team again.
Yeah.
Outlook for other players, and you had a couple of other guys last year that, as I remember, and if I misspeak, you straighten me out. But Bryson Duggar, last year come district tournament and region tournament time, turned into a beast.
Yes.
He became a force.
Bryson, he made us play him. I mean, he didn't have a lot of minutes at the beginning either, and by the end of the year, he's in the rotation, he's playing, and it was hard to take him off the floor. He's arguably the fans' favorite player. I mean, if you come watch us play, you talk about Bryson Duggar.
There's a reason.
And there's a reason. He plays hard. I think if you looked up teammate or competitor in the dictionary, you probably see his picture. He does whatever it takes for Pulaski County to win, and that's something that's very important to have guys like that.
Well, in a team with this much offense, you better have some guys like that. Coach Fraley told me last year, we got a lot of guys who can shoot it. I don't know if we're going to guard anybody or not. That's John.
He's going to guard.
That's John. He said, who are we going to guard? That's kind of his statement. But, again, you've got 3 or 4 more kids that saw quite a few minutes last year. So
yeah, Caden Lancaster last year kind of had his coming out party as a sophomore.
Another one who plays hard.
Yeah, and we expect – he had a great year, but we expect bigger things from him. I think you can make the comment that we expect him to average a double-double, and I don't think that's overstated. I think he could very easily do that. And then you got Barrick, and Barrick is who Barrick is too. He scores in many ways. He plays bigger than what he is. He's just a good athlete, and he rebounds really well. Like you already mentioned, the injury. We got good news, and he kind of got some news that he didn't really expect, so we're hoping to get him back somewhere time around Christmas. The Christmas tournament's first of the year. And then the guy that kind of gets lost in the fold when you talk about that junior class, and we talked about Lancaster having his coming out party, we kind of expect Jace maybe to have that, Jace Fry, to have that coming out party this year as a junior. He got some minutes there at the end of the year, but if you kind of been in open gym or been to the preseason scrimmage, I think you'll be very surprised with with his numbers this year.
So legitimately 8-9 deep without any doubt, maybe deeper.
Yeah, we've not talked about
we haven't even talked about a point guard in this offense yet, have we?
No.
Okay.
Barrett can play point guard. Everybody wants to talk about the 8th grader. I know you're already you're
maybe.
already going to it, so I'll go ahead and circle him down here. Carson Fraley. He's been a guy that's been brought up in the program, literally. I mean, he's been raised in the gym. He knows the offense. He runs the point. He's a true point. He's just a little bit bigger than his brother. So
it's considerably bigger, let's be honest.
I mean, he's listed right here. Coach has got him listed at 6'1", 210, and I don't know if that's an exaggeration a bit. So we might need to get that 210 down a little bit. But he's coming off a good summer, or not a good summer. He had a knee injury this summer with the kneecap. So he's kind of working his way back in. But he had a good scrimmage the other night against Clay. So I think he's going to be fine. It comes down to him getting used to adapting to the speed of the game at the varsity level and getting used to being on a team where he's not the man. He don't have to pass it to himself, catch it, shoot it, do all the things. He's got guys out in front of him. But I'll give Carson a lot of credit. I've been around Carson a while, but this is probably the most mature I've seen him. He's very coachable right now. He's asking the right questions. He's trying to take everything in, and he's really grown up in the last year and a half.
Well, again, you've got a basketball team that the pieces, at least a lot of the pieces of the puzzle are there.
Absolutely.
And the good news is a lot of those pieces have already been used together before, so they kind of know each other. You've got, again, I see different bodies, different players. Sloan I call smooth.
Oh, yeah.
He's out there and he gets a lot done, but it's quietly smooth.
You can see Sloan play 1 through 5 this year, especially until Barrett gets back. I mean, you can see Sloan handling the basketball. Then
you take Travis, and I look for him to sometime grab it every game and cause everybody to go crazy because he's going to sling it.
That's right.
And, there's just so many guys on this team that when you see them play, you say, okay, if they all get on the same page and they're all willing to take good shots when they're there, those kind of things, I can see where you guys might have a little fun this year.
And the one thing, we want to play that way, up and down and fast pace, as fast as we can go, and you've already alluded to it a little bit. If we can play 8, 9, 10 guys, we can do that. That's one thing we're trying to get them to buy into right now. You don't have to play 32 minutes. If you play the way we want you to play, you're not going to play 32 minutes.
If you play 15 or 16 good minutes.
Absolutely.
You've got a basketball team that I'm sure you've set your aspirations. Let's just take a quick snapshot of the district. The 47th district, there's 4 teams in it every year, and when it comes district tournament time, you just wipe the slate. Just start over and kind of guess. But have you had a chance to see any of them this summer and get a feel for anything or not?
No, we've not seen them all, but Rock brings back pretty much
everybody. Yes, they do.
So Rock's going to be really good in this region, and if people are counting them out, then they shouldn't be. Somerset with Coach Young over there, I'm sure he'll do a lot of great things over there, but they'll have a young roster as well.
Yes, they will.
And in Casey, Coach Carson's there now. I know Coach Carson a little bit. He'll do a really good job in that program, but I know he's got the Willoughby kid, I think, still, and I'm not sure who he's got other than that. But Coach Carson will really work that program, and Casey, we'll see what they hold. But Rockcastle for sure.
With the fifth-year senior thing, with the COVID year, that's the other thing I was saying to one of the other coaches, that you're really not exactly sure who all is going to be on the floor.
Absolutely.
Because there are players that you thought were gone that may still be in the system.
Absolutely.
You say you scrimmaged Clay the other night.
We did.
At Clay or here?
It was here.
Okay. I'm sorry I missed that. I'd like to have been out there.
It's okay.
Was it physical?
Physical game. Clay's a little young, so it was a game that we got to play a lot of guys. Football guys weren't there, so we still don't really know what all that looks like. We go to Breathitt Saturday, so we'll get a little bit more a look of what we really got. I know Coach Fraley's got us on that 2.5 bus ride to Breathitt County.
Yeah, and that's a great bus ride coming home if you go over there and play well. It's a nasty long bus ride home if you don't go over there and play well. All right, you mentioned the football players, and again, that means that Duggar and we've already talked about Williams and his injury. Idlewine, is he? Do I see him on there? Is he?
Yes, Ethan Idlewine. He's a freshman. He's a football player, good athlete. I've got a chance to coach Idlewine in the middle school and in some summers. I think that it'll be really surprising to see how he pans out. I think he's a really good football player from what I hear, but I think he can be a really good basketball player as well.
That's the thing that I was just using him as the example. You're getting the football players to come out and play basketball.
Yeah.
And again, people say, well, Pulaski's a big school. They don't have to worry about that. Every school has to worry
You
about
want your
getting
best
the
athletes.
athletes.
That's
You've
right.
got to get them. And when you walk down the hall and you see 10 that aren't playing, you go, I could use that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. We got Ethan Idlewind off the football field, and then another football player, Drew Nabnett.
Right.
Jalen Woodridge, another sophomore.
Good athlete.
Good athlete. Now, there's another one that's smooth,
He is.
effortlessly, nonchalant, and he got into practice the other day, and he went on that first drive when he was cleared to play, and we all just kind of looked at each other, stopped, and it was like, God, I mean, you don't realize how good that kid can be, and I don't think he realizes how good he can be as well.
Well, we've met you. You came and graciously sat in with us tonight. We all know John. Who else is on staff this year? Who else?
I'm very blessed to get to sit back and just listen to all these guys. And the funny thing is, I've played for all of them. So,
yeah, and you're way too young to be.
Coach John Fraley, the Fraleys have been really good to me. They've given me every opportunity in the world. I started playing for the next coach on here, Shannon Fraley. I started playing for Shannon 3rd and 4th grade, 5th grade, then go to middle school and play for John Fraley and Coach Blankenship. So John Fraley, Chris Blankenship, Chris Fitzgerald, and then we added one this year, Coach Jeff Cothran. So anytime you add a coach that's had head coaching experience and coaching the 12th region finals, I don't think it's not a bad thing.
Ed Cothran brings a little different he's a feisty young man.
Yes, he is. And some of the players are starting to realize that a little bit. He's kind of been laid back a little bit, but he's starting to get a little after it, so it's coming.
Let's take a quick look at the schedule just for fun. You open with Madison Central. I don't know a thing about them other than they're good every year, and I think there's a Feldhouse that still coaches up there.
They'll be who
they'll
they
be
are.
pretty good.
Absolutely.
West Jessamine, you never know with East and West what you're going to get till mid-season, and
right.
they're
Damon does a good job.
usually pretty good. Danville, McCreary Central, Casey. We won't get to see you guys, I don't think, until the 17th against Somerset. You all have got 17th of December, that game. Then the best in hoops and the Iron Warrior Classic. The Iron Warrior Classic, that's here at Southwestern, is it not?
Correct.
That's what I was thinking. Just looking down the list, it looks like most of the 12th region teams that we usually expect to see, but I see Barron County and Central Hardin have slipped into that schedule, so you've went west and picked up a couple. Those are usually pretty good basketball teams.
Yes, we played Barron last year, kind of added a game.
See, you got North Laurel down there and going to North, and everybody will be excited about that one, I'm sure. If you look at the region right now, and I know it's not fair to do this, but you're young, so I'll take advantage of it. If you had to say on paper, who's everybody looking at the region, and we'll leave you out. Pulaski's on that list, okay? There's no doubt in my mind. You guys, your name's on the list. Who else going into the season would you say everybody expects to be pretty good?
Until somebody beats them, Bull County. I mean,
exactly, every year.
Every year, they're a good program from every sport. I mean, they got a good culture up there. They're a winning program, and you never count Jeff Jackson and Lincoln County out. They're always there.
And I think the Smith kid went back to Lincoln County, did he not?
Back, and then they returned the point guard, Jackson Smith, and they're going to be really tough.
Well, like you said, give credit to the coach. He does a nice job up there, Coach Jackson does. And Bull County, they managed to get that football team into a basketball team about mid-January.
Yep, and then they're hitting.
You see them, they'll lose 10 games up to then, and then all of a sudden they're always around.
And the same thing said about West Jessamine. Coach Kaylee does a good job, but they're always playing their best basketball toward the end of the year as well. And then you got Rockcastle. I think with the Mullins kid, the guard play there is really good. Anytime you got good guards, you got a chance. Macquarie Central, I think you watch out with them. Then Southwestern with Coach Dunbar.
What about Wayne? They haven't been way down the last year. They've been off a little bit. Yeah. Are they on the radar yet?
They will be, and they got a very good 8th grader. He was an 8th grader last year. He was arguably their best player, and then I think he's an 8th grader again this year. So
that sounds so strange to say.
So they got kids in the fold, and they're going to be there. And Rodney, you know, Coach Woods, I mean, he's going to have them playing, and you never count Wayne out, ever.
I always take the region every year, and we'll do this, and I'll watch this somewhere down in the season, and I'll say, well, spot on, missed that one, didn't see that coming, you know. But, again, we are at Buffalo Wings and Rings on South 27. This is Lake Cumberland Sports Coaches Show. This is Blake Burton. Pulaski County has joined us tonight. And we're going to remind you here at Buffalo Wings and Rings tonight on South 27. They've not closed the doors yet. They stay open. $25 gift card will get you 30. You'll get the $30. You'll get a $25 and a $5 for $25, and that's what they're promoting tonight to help us with this. And we want to thank all the coaches who've been with us. And when Blake and I get finished here, Kirk Stickley of Somerset Christian is going to join us. But again, let's talk about anybody that you need to thank besides Brian Miller.
Brian Miller, Rodney McInich. You got our trainer, Katie Jackson, student assistant, Drew Dotson, our stat guy, Tony No. But I want to mention two or three kids here I want to make sure I mention because they deserve to be mentioned. Cameron Hargis, another junior.
He's another one I'd forgotten.
Yeah,
yes.
and you could see him sneak in. So he's one of that 8, 9, 10 kids that need to be mentioned in that rotation. Cam, he's a good competitor, good defender, takes care of the basketball. He does a lot of good things, so I don't want to forget about him. And then Will Blankenship, another guard as part of that 8, 9, 10, that is another kid that's been raised in the program that could see a chance to he's going to get a chance. Him and Cam both are going to get a chance to play some varsity minutes this year. It's just about when their opportunity comes. They really keep the varsity guys on their toes in practice because them two are going to bring it every single day. So if they're not ready to go, they get exposed a little bit. And then the fourth senior, I want to make sure we mention him too, Chandler Sears. He's been dealing with a concussion, so he's not got to practice the last 2.5 weeks or so. So he did get released to do a little bit of activity today. And that's another kid, Jim Ratt, makes a lot of shots, and he'll be ready when his number's called as well. So I wanted to make sure I got those three kids.
Take a look, make sure you got a second. We didn't miss anybody because if we did, it's an omission. It wasn't on purpose, that's for sure. And, I will say this about this is not a secret, but I'm going to tell those guys that you mentioned, 7 through 10 or 11. You want to play some minutes? Guard people, rebound, get after people.
And Cam Hargis and Will Blankenship and that Bryson Duggar we already talked about and Jace Fry, they're going to guard. So
that's
if one
what
of
you
those
have to
5
do.
or 6 aren't guarding, we've got some kids that are going to guard, and they're going to play hard. So it's a very good problem to have. That's why Coach Fraley, he gets paid the big bucks. He can make all those big decisions.
We want to give our shout-out to John. We want him to do well, and we're anxious to see him back out. You guys open up against Madison Central on the 30th. That game is away, so your home opener is going to be West Jess on the 2nd. Is that?
I have the 3rd right here, but it may be the 2nd.
See.
I may have an old schedule.
No, it is the 3rd.
Okay.
No, it's the 3rd, and then you got Danville again on the road. So right out of the gate, you're going to do a back-to-back. You're going to do back-to-back games, and all I can say is tell John thanks, and thank you for coming.
Well, thanks for having me.
And I think Tommy's going to be okay. He's going to
we
critique.
survived?
I don't know. He'll critique you pretty hard, but he isn't sitting here.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
He told me, he said, "You watch Blake now." I said, "Blake, take care of Blake." Okay, how does it feel to be the young guy in the program over there on the bench? Because you're the closest to these guys in age. They've played for you, but you weren't much older than them when some of these guys played for you.
That's right, and it's helped that I'm in year 4, year 5 now, so it's getting a little bit. I'm getting a little older than some of these guys, but like the senior class, I was their freshman coach, so it's fun. They relate to me. I can relate to them probably sometimes in a little different way than some of these other guys can. So it's fun. I like kind of being the young guy, energetic, and being able to just relate to them. And they can come talk to me, and I might be able to relay that message to Coach in a different way and spin it a little bit.
It might sound like you're thinking and not criticizing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they got a question, they may be afraid to come ask Coach, but they can come ask me. So it's good, and I think it's important to have a young guy on the staff. I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm with you on that. I think if you get a bunch of old guys, you think like a bunch of old guys. And if you get a little young guy or younger blood in the mix, sometimes.
And one good thing is they don't care to ask for my opinion too, Coach Fraley and Shannon and Coach Blank. I mean, and they value my opinion. So it's not like I'm just sitting over there or they don't pay attention to me. I mean, they make me feel welcomed, and I'm a part of it, so it's good.
I want you to feel welcome. Thank you for stopping by.
Well, thank you for having me.
Best of luck this year, and again, we'll be there, and if there's anything we can do at Lake Cumberland Sports, please let us know. Good job, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
He's Blake Burton. We're going to wrap this up, and we'll get ready as Mike and Kirk Stickley of Somerset Christian School is going to step in. We're going to step out. We are at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Don't forget, $25 will get you $30 worth of gift certificates tonight here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. That's the special we're running, and I'm going to step out, and we're going to bring in our last guest of the night, Kirk Stickley, coach at Somerset Christian.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Here we are back at Buffalo Wings and Rings on our coaches show. I'm here with head ball coach Kirk Stickley of the Somerset Christian School Cougars. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking time out and letting us catch up with you as you prepare for another season. We were catching up here before we went on the air. And you've been doing this for a while, is that right?
Quite a while. This will be my 35th season coaching basketball here in Pulaski County.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
As you gear up, Somerset Christian School has transitioned into KHSAA competition.
Yes, sir.
And they're going to compete in the 48th district. And you were saying before we went on the air, this is year 2, so still not eligible for postseason play this year.
Not
is that
yet.
correct?
Not yet. But now in the KCAC, which we'll also be playing in, which is the Christian conference inside the KHSAA, we'll be eligible for postseason with them. So.
And the KHSAA eligibility begins
next year.
Okay.
Next year, district and regional.
And you said KCAC, is that correct?
Yes.
So I've been down there at your all's facility. Phenomenal facility, by the way.
Thank you.
A lot of banners up there. Now, are those KCAC banners?
That's KCAA. That's the old conference that we were in. And the KCAC basically spun off of the KCAA because we wanted to have that connection with the KHSAA. We wanted their rules, their regulations, and having a nice uniform way of doing things that we didn't have in the KCAA.
Okay.
And Danville Christian was the one who basically started that. And now that we're up to, I think, 15 teams in KCAC.
So you got you're kind of competing in 2 different leagues. That's interesting.
Yes.
I won't ask too much about that. I don't know a lot about that. But 48th district, so you're going to play a home and home against Southwestern.
Yes.
You're going to play, because of that 48, it's going to be a home and home against McQuarrie Central,
right,
as well as Wayne County.
Right.
And I also looked at your schedule, and you've got Somerset, I think, at your place this year. Is that correct?
Sir. Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of playing with some local teams this year.
Yes, we want to do that. I mean, that was one of the guiding decisions that we had to getting out of the KCAA. Our travel time was so great. Closest place that we played was Trinity up in Lexington. That was the closest.
Wow.
Everybody else, we were ending up spending, an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours on the road to get to a school to play. And that's just one way. So you're looking at you're burning up a whole day basically to go play. Sometimes 4 games when we had girls,
right,
JV and varsity, and then boys JV and varsity. You spend a whole day there.
And when you're playing Southwestern, that's going to take you a whole 10 minutes or so.
Oh, yeah.
You can walk it in about 30, probably.
Well, less than that.
Less than that, yeah. You can drive it in 10. So that's welcome. I'm glad to have you guys on the slate. Kevin Lloyd tells us we're going to start our broadcast schedule this season at your place when you all host Southwestern on December 6th. So everybody can tune that game in and check out that contest. I had the pleasure of calling a contest you all hosted, I think, Wayne County last year.
Yes.
Real impressed with you. You all have some really nice athletes and some kids that could be certainly play some meaningful minutes on any of these other squads in our town, and really played a up and down kind of tempo style. And small sample size, Coach. Is that the style of play that you kind of encourage your guys to play?
We have speed, so we want to use it. And we would rather run than have to come down and set up. But We've got boys that have gotten faster and have gotten stronger and have put on some weight, and I think we're going to be a lot more difficult to handle. Last year we kind of got muscled up a lot of times with some of the schools, Wayne County especially. They use their strength and their size and their football players to kind of muscle us out away from the basket. And this year I think they're going to have a little bit harder time doing something like that. And so, you know, we knew coming out of the off season that we were going to have to improve ourselves. We were going to have to get ourselves much better to be able to play and compete against the schools that have football programs.
That's exactly right. You do return some seniors on your squad. And again, like I said, we got to see some of those kids in action last year. Luke Atwood, David Crewball, and Braden Moore. Every one of those players average right at double figures. Atwood and Moore almost 15 points a game.
Yes.
And Crewball really averaging a double-double. That has to help you with the experience coming back this year. Those are three players that played a lot of meaningful minutes for you last year.
They did. And David Crewball is just coming off of an injury that he has sustained right before the soccer team went down to nationals in Dayton, Tennessee. And he's got a little bit of damage to his right shoulder, but he's been cleared for play. So he's about 3 weeks behind everybody, and we're going to have to work real hard to turn around and get him set up and ready to go.
Now, you graduated. How many players did you graduate off?
Three.
3 players off of last year's team?
Yeah.
And one of those players may have been Crewball's sibling, is that correct?
Yes, his older brother, Aaron.
I thought there was another young man by that last name. Juniors on your squad, and you handed me a roster as we got on the air. I had Noah Brummett. He played meaningful minutes last year.
Yes.
Ethan Meggs, and that's your junior class this season. What are you looking for contributions out of those 2 young men?
Noah Brummett, we're really looking for him to be another double-digit scorer for us. He's got really nice skills, good shooter from anywhere on the floor, and if you make him mad, he'll take over the game. Just to prove to you that you can't turn around and do what you did to him to make him mad. So
I know his grandmother, and if he be's anything like his grandmother, I know you speak the truth right there.
Yes. Well, yeah. Anybody that knows her knows exactly what we're talking about. So, yeah. And Ethan Meggs is the one who, at the end of the season last year, we weren't exactly sure how he was going to be able to contribute for us. And he has dove in with every part of his body to get himself better. He's gotten stronger. He's got in the weight room. He's really worked extremely hard on getting himself to the point where he can be on an inside player. He's not as strong as Aaron Crewball was, but nobody was, because he was just a freak of nature. And but he's worked on his shot. He's worked on every aspect of his game, and he's got himself a starting position right now. And he's a leader, and he's going to be one of my captains this year because of all the hard work that he did during the offseason. We're naming him as a captain and Luke Atwood as a captain.
That's awesome, and that's a good message for anybody out there that's listening. You put the work in, and there's prize at the end of that.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. On your roster, Coach, you have a couple sophomores, Ethan Warren and Charles Scott. Those kids, I'm not sure if those young men played last year. Are they newcomers, JV
Ethan
players
Warren
moving
did.
up?
Ethan Warren did. Charles was a freshman last year, but Ethan Warren played varsity, and he also has done the work during the offseason. It's gotten really smarter and has gotten a little bit more confidence in his game, and we're going to need him coming off the bench. He's going to have to learn to play 3 positions and be able to turn around and fit in any place that we need him to. But he's embraced that, and he's working hard. You know, that's tough learning 3 positions, but he's working really hard at it, and great leaping ability, absolutely really nice leaping ability for a kid that he's about 6'1" now. and he can turn around and get up, not all over the rim, but he's right up there by it. He's eyeballing it almost.
That helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And Charles Scott, Charles just he's worked hard, but has not gotten the benefits of the hard work that we were hoping that he would get. There's been some interruptions in that, so he's going to be. He'll be there, but I don't see him coming off the bench anytime real early.
Okay.
We do have one. He's a freshman, Caleb Taylor.
Yes, sir.
And Caleb Taylor comes to us from the homeschool team, and he's got a really nice game, very nice game, and we're hoping he gets to be about as big as his brothers, because both of his brothers are up around 6'3", 6'4", and we're hoping he hits a growth spurt here pretty soon since he's a freshman. And then the other one that we're planning on coming off the bench quite quickly is Noah Brummett's little brother, Eli Brummett. And he has really just come out of his shell. He's becoming a talker. He's proven to be a leader on the floor. He's absolutely fearless. And you look at him and you think, how in the world is this kid sticking his nose in there every single time and taking the hits that he takes, and he just hops right back up and he goes, let's go.
If I'm not mistaken, the kid that you just described, that kind of mentality, watching the game that we covered last year, I think it was Braden Moore. He played guard for you,
yes,
drove the ball, and he took a lot of bumps. It was a Wayne County team that was played really physical.
Right.
And he was a kid that wasn't intimidated by that, just took the ball right to those bigger players. And I was really impressed with the energy from your squad.
Right.
One more player on your varsity roster that you share with me, Elijah Ray, freshman. That young man still on the squad?
Yes, he's still there. We're trying to get some grade situations straightened out with him right now, so he's not practicing with the squad until he turns around and gets his grade straightened out. But he's growing. He's picked up about 20 pounds in the off season, and a good 20 pounds, not the
kind I have.
Sitting around the house and eating potato chips all day long. But he's going to be a force on the inside. He really can be I guess he's not a dominator, but he basically takes the paint and says, it's mine, you're not coming in here.
You know, a space eater, taking up space.
Well, he's not really that big to be a space eater, though.
Yeah.
No, he's got a good sense of how to block shots. We're working on him on being able to take charges. Right now, if we turned around and showed you game or any practice film, he'd be on ESPN's Phantom of the Flopper, because that's what he's always doing right now. But developing his left hander really well, but solid with, going to his right. And when he blocks off, you don't move him. He's got those kind of legs that just are really strong and keeps him right where he needs to be.
Coach, I was looking at your schedule last season, and I noticed something that I want to ask you about. You had 2 overtime wins. You had 2 overtime games all season.
Right.
Both of those overtime contests, you come out victorious. And again, small sample size, when I watch your team play the Wayne County game, if there was one thing I felt like that hurt your team was the lack of depth.
Right.
Which speaks even louder to the fact that you were able to play 2 overtime contests and come out ahead. And one of those being against Lynn Camp, and I know that was at your place. And you start your season this season at Lynn Camp. I'm sure they'd like to avenge that loss. But talk to me about that, like the impact of the smaller student body you're pulling from and the roster and just that depth. How are you making all that work for you over at Somerset Christian School?
The last 2 years, it's been really difficult because we just have not had the depth. I talked to them a lot about, you can't compete for championships if you can only go to 6 players. And I said it makes it even more difficult even if you don't have that bench. But it's not as tough with 7, but championship teams usually can go 8 deep. So that's what we're trying to develop. And we just don't have the numbers right now to be able to do that. Our volleyball team has been excellent this year. They have the same thing. They play all through the whole spectrum, 8th graders all the way up to seniors, on their volleyball team. And all of them contribute. And we just haven't gotten to that point yet to where we get a lot of contribution from our younger players. But we hope, and this is one of the things that we've started this year, we've started our elementary program back up. And we have a 3rd and 4th grade team, and we got a 5th and a 6th grade team that are going to be playing. And we got 2 excellent men that are coaching them. And we're hoping that will start the building process back again, because for many years we had a middle school team, and then last year we had one, but the coaches were running it. It was right. Coach Sears and Coach Burris and myself, so we were doing everything last year. Yep. And that takes a toll on you as Absolutely. A coach. You eventually turn around and start wearing down.
You talk about the numbers. So when I was kind of doing some homework on you guys, the enrollment listed for the high school was like 80 something. Does that sound about right for the varsity, like freshman to senior class?
Yeah. Last year we were right around to 80. I think this year we kind of got closer to 90. We might be at like 91 or 92. We had 120 student bump this year, but most of it's been down in the preschool and the elementary grade. So we haven't seen that much movement up here, but we hope, and we keep praying that one of these days somebody's going to turn around and finally look at us and go, they got a good school up there, they've got good people, they've got a good sports program. Maybe my kid needs to go someplace like that.
Well, I mentioned the facilities are state-of-the-art, just top-notch. I mean, the school's a beautiful school.
Thank you.
If you've ever stepped foot in there, it's impressive. And now let me ask a question for anybody that's listening that maybe you follow you guys. And do you have students that video broadcast your games? Because it seems like the night that we were there was some people that were doing that. If somebody wanted to follow your program, does some kids do that there at Somerset Christian?
No, that was one of our parents that was doing that.
Okay.
And she did that for every game and would turn around and broadcast it over social media for anybody that wanted to watch.
So, again, reminder that Lake Cumberland Sports will kick off our broadcast season at Somerset Christian when you all play host to Southwestern on December 6th. You're all going to kick off your season at Williamsburg on November 27th, just right around the corner.
Which is Saturday, yes.
Yeah, just right around the corner. So
going down there for a scrimmage, we'll be playing Berea nice and early in the morning. It says on the schedule 11:50, but it got bumped up to 10 o'clock. So the JV will play at 10, and then the varsity will play at 10:50.
So, Coach, as we're running out of time here, anybody else you want to thank before we get off the air here?
Well, like I said, I have 2 excellent coaches. T.W. Sears came on board last year with us, and then T.J. Burris has been with me for 9 years. And, of course, my daughter has been my bookkeeper and my cheerleader and taking care of everything that I throw at her. And she's been doing that since she was in 8th grade. And, couldn't do this without her. And then my excellent athletic director there at Somerset Christian School, who happens to be my wife.
I hear you have a good one.
Yes, I do. So, and all the parents that support us, this has not been easy on them either, and we understand that. The transition has been rough, but they've been in our corner the whole time. and supporting it. So,
well, and it helps to have the short trips to get to see the kids play.
Exactly.
And you're doing it for the right reasons, I think. Well, Coach, best of luck to you as you kick this season off. Look forward to watching you all to continue to develop that program. And got some excellent athletes over there, and we're going to follow you. Like I said, our season will start there at your house for our broadcast schedule. That'll be a video game on December 6th as you host Southwestern. Coach, thank you. Good luck to you. And thank you for taking time out to catch up with us.
Thanks for having me.
All righty, this is Michael Gregg catching up with Coach Kirk Stickley of the Somerset Christian School Cougars, and you are listening to the Buffalo Wings and Rings Coaches Show on Lake Cumberland Sports.